Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, 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 one and all. It is Sunday. It is therefore, of course, Warhammer. I'm having some. Hang on, I'm having some chair issues here. I'm submarining. My little orthopedic cushion thing is sliding around, and it's not ideal. Ooh. Yes, welcome, one and all to Warhammer Sunday. That time of the week when I continue to crack on with Warhammer, because I've been Warhammering all week, and you guys come and join me. Now, I'm on my own at the moment, but hopefully in the coming 3 hours I'll be joined hopefully by Colin for a little bit, and by Dad, of course, who's out at the minute. He's had to pop out, but he said he might pop in for a little bit, so it won't just be me, hopefully, throughout the course of the show. But it might just be me for most of it. But there you go. You only come here to see me anyway, don't you? Just admit it. Yes, welcome one and all. It's Warhammer Sunday. Let's do some Warhammer. Now, before we get going, as always, let's get all the usual nonsense out of the way. A big, massive thank yous to all the people that make all my content possible. My corporate supporters, emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk. They are your one-stop shops for tabletop and model making needs. Links to both of those stores in the description below the video. Please use the links down there, not just the normal website links, because it tells them I sent you and I get some income from that. So it really does help me out a lot. So use those links. And of course, my patrons and my channel members who support this channel directly. They pay my wages, they keep me doing this permanently, they keep this possible, and they keep the channel alive. If you want to help out and become one of those two fine groups of people, you can either go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru. There's a link down on the screen somewhere, and become a patron, or you can just click the join button under any one of my videos and become a channel member. Either way, you get loads of access to free cool stuff, and you get access to the 24/7 live Zoom, Hangout and Facebook chat that's exclusive to patron members. Patrons and members, and also exclusive to Colin's channel, Festa 67's workshop, and Scaly Models channel, which is Scaly Models. So yeah, that's another reason to hang out. It's a live 24/7 hangout where you can just go and hang with your friends, and it's always there. There's always someone around. But yes, so there are the reasons that you should become a patron or a channel member. I'm really warm, and I forgot to open the window. I'm going to see if I can open the window without bonging the camera. Hang on. I must remember to float my boat before I bong my gong. I don't know if I'll be able to. This may go horribly wrong. Hang on. It's going to go. I can feel it moving. Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to move the camera, aren't I? Ugh. Fail. Fail. Biblical fail. Hang on. There we go. Oh. Doesn't matter if it's like minus 400 degrees outside. As soon as you put the lights on, the camera on, it just becomes torpid and tropical in here, and it's a nightmare. Right, where's the camera gone now? All the way over there. There we go, that's better. Right, anyway, yes, so welcome one and all. Don't forget, of course, another way to help support this channel, if you want to, I have got the chat in front of me. If you are watching this stream and you're not in the live chat, do come and join the live chat. It's all about me hanging out with you guys in the chat. So if you're not in the live chat, if you're watching it embedded somewhere, click on the little YouTube icon on the bottom right hand corner. That'll take you to the right hand corner. Hang on. Swig of tea. I'm already talking rubbish. I'll start again. Come and join the live chat. Hit the YouTube icon in the bottom right hand corner, and that'll take you to the YouTube page where you can carry on watching and you can join the live chat. If you're in chat, I've got it here, but it'll be a bit out of focus once I put my lenses on. So if you want to catch my attention, please do @ModelMakingGuru, so it puts my name in an orange box. Or if you want to, you can do a super chat by hitting the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a big coloured box, and I can't miss it then. Also, you're helping to support the channel at the same time. Now let's have a quick look and see who is in chat, and then we'll crack on. We're going to be doing some painting today. I know, painting. Me painting on a live stream. Cats and dogs living together, oh my. We have, first person I see in chat is Panzer Koenig. Welcome, Panzer Koenig. Fox hugs, he says, so Panzer hugs back. Graham McRobert and William Rayborn, hello to both of you and hugs. Chris at Gross Models is in. Not at work, Chris. Oh no, it's Sunday, although I thought you would have been in on Sunday. Oh well, never mind. You can come and join me if you want, Chris. Let me know, I'll send you the link. We have, unless you're at work, obviously, in which case you can't. Graham McRobert, Can Do Grandpa Mongo, welcome to you. We have, who else is in? Marcus Brune is in. Afternoon all, hoping you're having a great Sunday. Thank you, Marcus. I hope you are too. And that's it in chat so far. Watch out, he may not be wearing pants. I am wearing pants. Don't worry about that. It's a good job I'm wearing pants. I didn't realise the camera was looking in the wrong place. Yes, so not a lot of people in chat just yet, but it's early days. It's early days. Now, today we are going to be doing some paintulateries. As you can see, I'm working still on my 2 Deathcore tanks. I got the Baneblade painted in a German grey style colour, and so far the Banesword is painted in a sort of tan colour. This is going to have a Cornter camouflage scheme. It's not going to be strictly Cornter, it's not going to have the exact pattern of a Cornter scheme, but it's going to have the colours, which is this is the base colour, and then a light green and a light blue in patches. So, but I'm going to leave that to one side for now, because I'm going to start on the Baneblade, and I'm going to start with the chipping. I've got the sort of rough base colour down. It looks a bit cartoony and exaggerated. When you see it on the screen, it's not quite as contrasty and blue as it is in real life. It's a bit more blue and a bit more contrasty. On the screen here, it's a bit flat and it's a bit grey, but there is some blue in there. It's a sort of bluey grey. It looks a bit contrasty, but once the weathering goes on, that'll tone down. So I'm more than acutely aware that went a little bit over the top with the contrast, but that's great. You want that. If I did it all nice and subtle, when I put the weathering on, it just all become grey. So there you go. So a little bit contrasty. So we're going to start with the chipping on this. Just going to take the turret off. I do fully expect half the paint to come off here when this turret keeps being taken on and off, but hey, we'll find out what happens. So we're going to do some chipping on this today. I'm going to do the chipping before I paint any of the little details here and there, purely because I'm going to be sponge chipping for at least the initial chip layer, and that's going to go everywhere, so there's no point painting all the little details and then sponge chipping grey all over them. That would just look stupid. So I'll get the chipping done first, then we can get some details done. You'll see as well I've painted the tracks, just a base colour. I've used Vallejo track primer, which is a kind of rusty brown colour. It's quite a nice colour, and you could technically just leave your tracks like that and then weather them, but I'm going to be adding more rust layers on that anyway. But just a nice colour to start your tracks off with. And I have to tell you, when I airbrushed this yesterday, I airbrushed obviously the hull and the wheels in the same grey, and then I airbrushed the track primer on the tracks. And what I did was I got a piece of card and I held it against the edge, well, not on the outside, but here. Held it against the edge and then sprayed that way, so it didn't go here on the hull. And that was pretty good. Gave me nice crisp edges, but I had to paint these edges as well, you know, these edges here. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, let's just go balls to the wall. Let's just dive in, get it that way, get the airbrush. And I just got the airbrush, and I went, I'll get the airbrush and show you. I just got the airbrush out, and I literally went, like that, and I angled it, so I mostly got the paint on the tracks and not the wheels. Like that, and when I came to painting these parts, I didn't mask off these bits here. I just literally went carefully on a low PSI and sprayed it really carefully, trying to avoid getting any of the track primer on the hull, and I did, and it's great fun. You can actually, as I'm wobbling the camera, you can actually get quite precise with an airbrush. So there's some of it did go on the wheels, but that's not a problem, because I've got to repaint the rubber outside of the wheels anyway, and they're going to get covered in mud. But I suddenly realised it's easier for me, because I was debating whether to do all the details on the wheels and the rubber bits and then paint the tracks. that will be a pain because I'd have to then brush paint between all the wheels, and that's a pain in the bum. So I realised it's easier for me to spray the tracks, and then if I need to, touch up the wheels. That's easier than having to paint the tracks around the wheels. So yeah. Right, so let's have a quick look at chat. And channel members get to post icons like this, says Candygram. Yes, do Colin, Foxx, FOXX, and you'll have a little selection of thumbnails that you can stick in there, if you remember. Not at work, playing indie, got to get where I died last week, says Chris. Oh, right, okay. If you want to come and join me, Chris, you're more than welcome. Foxx claims he's wearing pants, but he gave no further information. They could be on his head. Yeah. This looks really good already, says Candygram. Thank you very much. Right, so what I'm going to do, I have a selection of colours. For the base, if you're wondering about the base colours, it was Tamiya German Grey as a base. Well, I primed it black. Then it was Tamiya German Grey, lightly sprayed over, so there was still some black bits in various areas. And then for the highlight, I did a couple of colours. I did... what was the first colour I did? The first colour I did was Vallejo model colour medium grey as a highlight over the German grey, but it wasn't that different from the German grey. There wasn't a big lot of contrast. So then I went over it after that with another colour which I can't remember what it was. It was something like, I didn't have a real light grey, so I think it was Vallejo game colour wolf grey, but very thinned a little bit more than normal and very lightly applied, a low PSI, just to build up some of the highlight. I wanted it to be a bit transparent, so it would lighten things but keep that blue tone. So that was wolf grey, just over the centres of panels and stuff. So it's a bit contrasty, but that's what I wanted. And what we're going to do today is I need to start doing the chipping. So I've got Administratum grey, which we're going to sponge chip. Now I have to say, I suck at sponge chipping because I don't have the decent sponge. So I've got little bits of packing sponge from various things, but they never seem to... You get people on the videos and they go, dead, and it's brilliant. I get bits of packing sponge and they just give you... It never seems to be as exciting as other people doing it. So, yeah, let's get this going. I'm going to fuss them a little bit with a pair of skizzers, just to give it a rough edge. He obviously has yet to insert the pencils, Candygram. What? Pencils. What? Oh, I see what you mean with the things on my... Yes. I get you. Right, so I'm just going to fuss up this edge a little bit with some skizzolators, just to randomate it. And then guarantees I won't get that edge when I try and dip it in the paint. Now, I don't need a big bit of sponge here because it's only a small bit of chipping I want to do. But I will admit now, I kind of suck at chipping with sponges. So let's see how this turns out, shall we? Don't really want that. So we have a small piece of sponge. Trying to find a nice rough section. That might be quite good. Okay. So I'm going to test it out on the seamy underbelly first. That's always the best place to start with this nonsense. If you can see it, because if it goes a bit wrong, it's going to be covered in dirt and dust anyway, so it doesn't really matter so much. So I've got my Administratum grey. I need a piece of tissue. Piece of the kitchen tissue. And all we're going to do, look at me, it's what, a quarter of an hour in and I'm already doing work. Is this even a thing that's happening? Is this even possible? Is this forever? I need to put some tissue down here because I know I'm going to get paint down here. Let me just, for security purposes, I know what's going to happen. I've got this lifted a bit further up so I can have it in the right place, but I know what's going to happen. I'm going to move a paint pot and it's going to go on there and I'm going to get paint everywhere. So anyway, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a good week so far. Where's that tissue there? Of course, the most important question with any of my streaming content is bench and belly. What's on your bench? What you're working on right now? And what's in your belly? Hence the question, bench and belly. What are you having for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? Bench, obviously this, and for me, and belly later on will be tagliatelle with chicken chunks and some kind of sauce, I think. I don't know yet. Right, then we have the sponge. Can't actually see the chat because there's a dirty great big tank in the way, but never mind. And all I'm going to do, yes, I'm going to take it from the pot. Going to dip me sponge. It just looks a bit uniform to me, but we'll try it. Going to dip me sponge. Oh, hang on, we've fallen out. Oh, there we go, straight away. La 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 la. 1 second, folks. Da, 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 da. 1 sec. I did all that with my lenses on, so I couldn't actually see what I was doing. There we go, I'm back. So, a little bit of sponge, pot off the paint, which I'm going to put here so you can see it. All we're going to do is we're going to dip the sponge in there, just lightly. Doesn't need to be a heavy load of paint. Get most of that off. So it's just little bits. And then I'm just going to do some test stippling, because all we're doing is stippling, really. And we're just going to be stippling little tiny paint chips. Hither and yon. Thicker in some areas, less in others. Now the trick is to have a nice bright contrasty colour between your base coat and the chip colour. This colour itself, and I don't know if this is even going to come out on camera, probably not because it's so small. This colour itself is like light damage to the paint. This is supposed to represent where the paint has been damaged. I think we can, yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to bother chipping under here because it is actually going to be covered in dirt. I'll do these bits up at the top, that's about it. This is supposed to represent where the paint has been damaged, but it's not really gone through too much. It's just taken the top surface of the paint off and kind of cleaned it and left a little sort of exposed bit of paint that looks a bit cleaner than the rest. That's kind of where it is. I need to move this forward a bit. This is the first step now, and I appreciate you're probably just going to see also the back of my hand for a lot of this, but hey. No, I'm not the best at doing this, but it seems to be going quite well. Also, I'm trying to logically keep the chips towards edges. Edges? We don't need no stinking edges, senor. Towards the edges of panels, because that's logically where the most paint would be damaged. Edges in the direction of travel and where people would be moving around. Contact surfaces where things would be rubbing against each other, things like that. On camera? Just about. Just a bite. So I'm not too fussed about under here. Doing this under here is more of my experiment area because it is going to be covered in mud. So you do want a nice contrasty colour between the base coat and the chip, purely because once all the other weathering goes on, of course, a lot of this chipping will disappear. And we do have a second step of chipping which will add to it. It's going quite well. Now I'm going to go quite heavy on the chipulations because if you know your Warhammer lore, you know that equipment in the Imperium of Man is not easily come by, and Baneblades are quite difficult to manufacture, and they are so vital and so treasured by the Imperium that if a Baneblade is damaged on the battlefield, then the Imperium, the army, the Astra Militarum would actually happily sacrifice thousands of men to retrieve it, to retrieve the wreck of the Baneblade. So important and vital are they to the Imperium that they value them so much more than actual people. So consequently, your Baneblades can be hundreds of years old because they're cherished and treasured and maintained, and if they get broken or destroyed, they're rescued. So your Baneblade is unlikely to be brand new, and it's more likely to be like ancient. So you can go to town on the weathering. You can have a jolly good fun times with chipulations and streaking and dirt, because they see a lot of nasty combat, but they're also very old. There we go. Now I don't want to do too crazy, and I have to keep in mind that I know what's coming after this step. I know the next colour for the chip, so I know where they're going to go, what's going to happen next. So I can I can see how these are going to get toned down eventually. So it's important when you're doing any kind of chipping like this to keep the processes that are yet to happen in mind, because it's easy to get carried away, and I probably will get carried away and do too much chipping, to be perfectly honest. It's easy to get carried away and you end up with something that looks like it's got measles. So you've got to go slowly, but you've got to keep your coming up processes in mind. Now this is going to take a while, so this is probably all I'm going to get a chance to do today. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 hours from now I'm still chipping. Yeah. So we'll do our best. So I will depend on you to give me things to talk about. I know Colin said he might pop in a bit, and Dad might pop in when he gets home, but they might not be with us for long. So please treat the chat as an AMA. Ask me all the questions in the world that you want. I'll answer pretty much anything. You know me. If it gives me something to talk about, I'll answer it. Within reason, of course. I'm not going to give you my bank account details. Obs. And I hope you can see all this. I can't get the camera too close, unfortunately, because I need to be able to see what I'm doing as well. But at least I don't need to be close up to the model to do it to the point where you're going to see the back of my head all day. So that's not too bad. Now you can see I'm going over other details like this sigil here. Doesn't matter, I'm going to be painting them later. I just made a paint chip that looked just like a skull. Cool. That's kind of handy. Now, of course, I'm using this sponge, and it's technically, as I use the sponge, it's going to each squish of the sponge would look the same. So it's really about just moving the sponge around and going over in a couple of places just to vary things up, so it doesn't have any pattern to it. The human brain will instinctively try and find a pattern. And if you have a really obvious piece of sponge with like a really obvious shape to it that you've cut, you're going to end up with a really obvious pattern that everybody will see a mile away. So try and keep it as random as you can. You can see here I'm putting lots of chipping on this front part, but I'm not doing quite so much towards the top there. I'm doing some around these panels because they're little hatches. Hatches? We don't need no stinking hatches, senor. I'll have a look at chat in a second. It's also important when you're doing anything like this to keep in mind the scale of a person. I've said it a million times before, but for anybody who's not seen me do this before, when you're doing any kind of chipping, it's important to burp. It's important to keep in mind a sense of scale. How big is a hand or a head of a person relative to this model? See, I've got like 2 chips there, but they look the same, so I'll have to break that one up a little bit and add some extra fluff to it just to make it look less like the same chip. Yeah, keep in mind, at the back of your mind, the size of a person's head or hand in the scale of the model that you're chipping. Because it's very rare in real life that you'll see a paint chip bigger than your hand. Somebody's joining me. Hello, who's this? Hello. Hang on, let me change some things. Ooh, I've got a lying down man's.
Hello, mate.
All right, darling. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That was the wrong thing. I'm doing all right, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I thought he's bound to be sitting there worrying that I've forgotten. So
no. I knew you were doing stuff. I told everybody that you might be joining us. So.
Hey, mate, I nodded off.
I kind of expected you would do, because you've had a busy morning this morning.
Yeah, mate, it's just one of them, innit?
Yeah, there was that massive poop at 7 o'clock that went on for an hour and a half. Then you had your hairdresser in.
Yes, I had bad bed hair when I woke up, and that took ages to comb down, mate.
Yeah, they have to get a specialist in for that, don't they?
You certainly do, mate.
You can't just brush that way. Anyway, how the devil are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm just building up to sort of this week, trying to get at the bench at little increments, what we was chatting about the other day.
Did you just say the word increments?
Increments, yeah.
You started using all these big words, haven't you, lately? You've had time to read things when you've been lying down, haven't you?
I have. I've had time to go on Wikipedia and stuff, mate. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you used a big word in the stream earlier on that even Dad was surprised. I can't remember what it was, though.
He was pretty impressed with me, yeah.
Yeah. See what happens when you've got time on your hands? Only good things.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, like I say, gradual return to things, mate. So that's what I'm going to try and do this week.
Yeah.
Obviously, not allowed to push it too far, but you've got to have a go to try, ain't you? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I mean, I bet you can't wait to get back to the bench. I bet you're just bored, absolutely poopless at the minute, aren't you?
Well, the missus the other week, wasn't it? She sort of said how sad I was because I remote accessed my computer downstairs from this tablet
Yeah.
and was looking at my down cam, staring at the ball tank on the bench.
Oh
She was
no.
like, "You need to get out more." And I went, but she went, "Really?" I went, "Yeah."
Yeah, were you like a puppy at the window?
I was. There may have been a slight whimper.
Did you leave a little bupkis on the window with your nose?
Well, yeah, it's one of those. There was like 3 little lines down the screen of the tablet where I gone.
Yeah. Bless.
No, it's like anything, isn't it? When you enjoy what you do and it's your creative outlet, suddenly when you can't do it, you do miss it.
Yeah, you go spare. It's to be.
It's like watching you at the moment. You've been like a coiled spring looking after mum because this is what you do. This is what you do to escape. And suddenly that was taken from you, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You miss it.
I had to sit on my hands, and I had like things in plan that I was about to start doing, and I knew I wasn't going to do one thing free model, so I said, "Send me this other kit. I can do that faster." And then that didn't happen. It's like,
Yeah.
because I got that T62 kit because I had to pause on the Imperial Knight kit for them. So I said to James, mate, send me that T62. I can rattle that off in a week, and I'm not waiting for you to send me the right paints. And then Mama Foxx got poorly, so arse.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got their Under Fireblade on paint sticks. It's had its first coat of black and yellow base coats ready for all the lacquers to go over, and it's just sat there. It's like, yeah, I kind of want to get back just to get into it again.
Yeah, it's frustrating
And
when
also, I've got a Warhammer stash, haven't I, that I'm missing. So.
Yeah, plus you got that Kashashatria you want to build.
I know. It's now downstairs because I was really.
Yeah, and we just all taken delivery of Orc Stompers for our group build.
Absolutely.
And then both me and thee both kind of screwed that up a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, how goes the recovery, buddy? How are you doing anyway? How's it coming along?
Yeah, they're more than happy, mate. It's like what I said to you the other day when I'd spoken to the surgeon. He said, when you said you would do as you're told, he said, I thought most patients say that. He said, but you have. He said, you've done everything we've asked of you. He said, you've not moaned about it. You've just got on with it. He said, and you're reaping the benefit. He said, because everything's healing up as it should.
I take it he's never met Helen then? Because Helen explains everything. You've been behaving. Yes, I have to.
I said, just tell her what I can't do. She'll make sure I can't do it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if he's surprised that you're behaving, I'm thinking, no, I know exactly why you're behaving, and H is the reason that you're behaving.
Oh, yeah, it's called fear.
It's called just fear of everything, putting the fear of God in you.
Well, it's funny, her and my son have gone out to my other son's place. So she come up, there was a cup of tea, there's some bourbons, and there's like, I do not expect you to need to go downstairs at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that a request? She said, put it this way, if I have to put a stairgate up, I will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like Mama Foxx at the minute.
Downstairs. She took them downstairs. It's like...
It's like Mama Foxx at the minute. On Sundays, she's been really good actually. She's recovering quite nicely, and she's been getting much better. But I let her have a lazy day on Sundays, so she can sit up in bed and read her iPad or read a Kindle or whatever she wants to do, and just lays about in bed basically until she wants to get up, if she wants to get up. But I said to her, right, I'm going to go and do my live stream now. So here's a fresh cup of tea. And she's got her iPad and a little sponge thing that she puts the iPad on, a little cushion thing. And I said, if you decide to go downstairs, it's all ready for you downstairs. The telly's on and stuff, and all the lights are on. I said, ping me if you need to go, if you want to go downstairs, because I don't want to carry in like a iPad rest and an iPad and a cup and everything else while trying to go down the stairs. So if you hear a loud pinging and bleeping at some point, it means she's pinged me to give her a hand going downstairs. Because she's got like a little.
She's doing really well, though. I mean, bless her heart. She's been through the wars. And, she's a feisty lady, is your mum. So,
yeah, she's getting there slowly. It's like the doctor says to me. He says, you and I would struggle to recover quickly from what your mum's been through. So, give her time.
Absolutely. She's a lady of a certain vintage, and she's done well.
She's a lady of a certain vintage. What vintage? Very vintage.
I was trying to be subtle, but it didn't quite work, did it?
No, she won't be watching. And I know what she's like. She'll have actually, now I'm streaming, she'll be like, right, now I can go to sleep and you won't notice.
Oh, she's having one of her mum power naps.
Well, no, she might. I said, don't be sleeping. You've got to be, you can't be sleeping all the time because that's not good for you. She went, oh no, I might go downstairs or I'll keep reading. I know she'll just go and have a snooze. But the mistake she'll make is she won't wake up in time for me when I finish. So she'll still be snoozing. I'll be like, yep, told you. I knew it.
Yeah, but this is the thing. We do develop the art of the power nap, mate.
Yeah, it's all to come for me, though, isn't it? Like in about 2 months.
Well, yeah, a couple of months' time when you hit 50, you will discover you do need an afternoon nap, mate.
Yes, it will occur. I don't know why I'm chipping these bits. These are going to be coloured. You're an idiot, Fox.
Yeah, it's only sort of 30 minute power nap, but you're like, oh, have a nap.
Well, no, Mama Fox, what she'd do is she would sleep in the afternoon, but this was when she wasn't very well, you see, and it was one of the signs that something wasn't quite right. So, but she's been very good the last few weeks. She's been just up all day, which is great.
Oh, that's good. That's a bonus.
So I let her have a snoozy day on Sunday if she's been good all week.
So what you're doing there, then, mate? You're doing a bit of chipping and
I've got a light grey colour to do the highlight chips, which is just like the light chip on the darker paint. And then once this is done, I'll go in with a dark brown colour and go inside those chips to suggest where that paint's actually broken through. Now,
I'm with you.
So you've got like you've got the base coat paint, you've got a lighter grey where the paint's been scraped but not chipped away, and then you've got the brown where it'll be chipped away and it's metal underneath. Now, it doesn't really come out on camera, and you probably can't even see it on camera. It looks a bit diseased and poxy when you get to this point, because you've got a dark vehicle.
Doing these sort of paint jobs, I found that out with the WAS bomb.
Yeah, you get to this point where you do the light coloured chips, and it looks like just the worst thing in the world. You think I've ruined it, I've screwed it up. But you have to remember, once you put the weathering on it, all these chips will disappear.
Yeah, I got to that point where it almost looked like an anime cartoon cell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it ain't working. I put it away and I thought, I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like me with that WAS bomb when I did like the really bright white, the bright chips. I really thought I'd screwed that up. But once I put the weathering on there, it toned it all down. It was like, okay, it's back to normal. There we go. Happy times.
And then you just edit it so that it looks like it was intentional.
I may do that. I may do that. That may be a thing that I do indeed do. I do sometimes admit and say I didn't think this was going to work, and then miraculously it worked. But sometimes I'll say, don't worry that it looks like this, because this is what I'm planning on in the next bit. And I'm thinking, when I was filming it, I'm thinking, shit, I've messed it up.
Yeah, I know you may have noticed that deliberately rough edit trying to conceal the mistake I made, but
oh yeah, the thing that people have to remember is that when you're doing a voiceover, you've finished filming at that point, so you know what happens, you know what's coming up, so you can say this may look terrible, but don't worry, I'll be fixing it in a moment with the next step. But when you were filming it, you were there going shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
I've killed it.
It's put on the shelf of doom, doesn't it? And much sulking is bad.
Yeah, it goes into the Sunday worst shelf. Would you mind being chat, Dolly? Have you got the chat there with you, or you not got chat?
I'll load it up on my phone, mate.
Oh, okay, just in case I can't. I'm not being very good with chat at the minute.
I've got StreamYard on, but no pop-out, so...
Oh, okay.
I'll load it on my phone, mate.
Oh, cool. It's just because I'm struggling to see chat at the minute while I'm painting this, and I'm kind of ignoring everybody in chat, which is a bit rubbish. So, seeing as you're in, Let's do an ACA. Ask Colin anything.
Oh, it's asked me anything, is it?
Well,
I'm not guilty.
I did this to Dad. I dropped him in it one day when I said, right, there we go, chat. Nothing to talk about. Ask Dad anything. There you go. And Dad's like, oh, for crying out loud. So, yeah, ask Col anything. AFA. Ask Fester anything. Because you're the honoured guest today.
Yeah. Well, Vampy's in saying hello to everyone.
Hey,
hello,
Vamp.
Hope you're doing all right, mate.
I
And
can't remember.
McLeish, there's a muse and a Vamp. We are privileged.
Yeah. I can't remember where I got up to, but I think it was... Panzer Koenig says about inserting the pencils, and that was the last comment I read. So,
let's have a looky, Lou. Dum da da dum dum da. Oh yeah. Marcus Broom's in says there's nothing in his belly yet. He's making a beef stew.
ooh, beef stew.
Yeah. He says bench, carrots, onions, and parsnips.
Parsnips.
William Rayburn's saying dinner last night was steak and baked potato. Breakfast this morning will be steak and eggs.
That's just so working man, and it's wonderful. Steak and baked potato. No pretensions, no ponciness, just good, honest food.
Good old steak and spud, mate.
Yep.
Panzer saying belly later, the last of yesterday's sausage casserole.
Ooh.
With mashed potatoes. Bench is a freshly primed French tank and a packet of Fox's glacier fruits.
Hey, why have you got my glacier fruits?
Yeah, he said they're not Fox's, they're mine.
Yeah, I love the fact when you say sausage, you say it like it's spelled SOSSIDGE.
Sausage.
Sausage. You say it You say it the right way. People should spell it the way you say it. I think it should be.
I should do my own Fester's spelling book. With WIV. Yeah, sausage. Have a G in it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What have we got? ECIDO. Bench, he says rotary snow plough painting and detailing, and bellies of coffee.
Ooh.
Chris is in the chat. He says, I'll come and visit you for a bit if you send him an invite.
Oh, yeah. Let me put the link in the Facebook messagey thing. Keep them distracted.
So have a look at that. ECIDO saying hello all. Panzer saying hello to EC, as is William, Warham, and Jeff.
Hopefully I'm not making the screen go off while I'm doing this, but...
Now you're doing all right. Eon's car's in, says hello all. Hello geese. Hope you're doing all right. Is EC saying hello to me? Hello, mate.
Hello, me. I mean, to me.
Panzer Koenig says Colin up. Panzer loves mate. William Rayborn says it's Colin. Hi. Hello, mate. Andy McLeish says hello to the GNU model making guru and laid back Larry, Fest 67's workshop.
How did this GNU thing start again?
I called you model making GNU, didn't I, on one of the modcasts, and it kind of stuck for a little while.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how it's come back again. There's somebody said something in a stream somewhere that I've missed.
Yeah, I think Andy McLeish might have said something about it.
I was about to say, is Andy McLeish involved in this somehow? It's kind of, you kind of expect it, don't you?
Yeah.
If he wasn't, I would have been surprised.
Monday, saying hello to Andy, Eon's car, EC, and of course me. Cheers, mate.
Hello, mate.
Jeff. Eon's car saying, anyways, Belly and Bench. Ray Aquilina's in, says hello, my friend.
Hey, Ray.
How are you now? Okay, get well soon. I'm all right, Ray. Yourself, mate. Staying safe, I hope.
Happy Malta Place persons.
Yeah, happiness and all of that, lot in the lovely island of Malta.
Yeah.
Panzer Koenig says H and the power of a rolling pin. You ain't far wrong, mate. It's got a marble rolling pin.
Marble rolling pin, that's even worse.
Yeah. Threatens me with it on a daily basis, mate.
Is it like a puppy in the Hoover? It's in immediate effect.
Well, yeah, she caught me lurking in the kitchen. So she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I am slowly trying to get to the fridge." So
oh yeah.
Speed up a bit.
And did she say, does getting to the fridge involve touching all those buttons on the cooker and the washing machine?
I deny all knowledge of anything you may be referring to.
For the best.
Yeah. So how much is this £100 blackmail going to cost me?
For you, 200 quid.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Baneblade, isn't it?
That'll do very nicely, sir. Do you accept Baneblade? That'll do nicely. First class ticket to Nottingham.
I'll just give you up an insane blade. That should cover it nicely.
First class ticket to Nottingham, please.
Darren Edmonds is saying hello, everyone. Hello, Darren. All right,
Hello, matey.
Fox. Ray Aquilina's saying hello to his friend Foxx. Yeah, he's also saying hello to Penza.
Penza. I made a pattern there. That was a bad move.
Oh, yeah. Eon's card's got a belly and bench. He says moans, pinballs, and jelly beans.
Pinball.
And for dinner, chips and waffles with something. And on the bench is a Zaft, weapons and damage on the Gundam.
Yeah, Zaft. That's the Gundam thing that I've forgotten.
Yeah. Max says hello to Foxx. Colin on all the chatters.
Hello, Max. Hello.
Everyone's saying hello to Matt. Graham McRoberts in, see these Sunday shows, laugh out loud. Usually saying morning all.
Morning.
Hugs back news, hope you're doing all right, darling. Vamp saying hello there. Andy saying using Vamp with privilege.
Do you know, it's only people that have accents like yours that can use the word darling in English and nowadays.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's got like a London accent. I couldn't use that. I couldn't use the word darling anyway. I'm stupid. It's only people with London accents can say darling.
People do get the ump with you though. You know, I mean, I don't mean it in any other way other than trying to be polite, nice. You know what I mean?
No, but it's one of
the occasional woman does get the ump and goes, "I ain't your darling." I'm not saying you are. I'm just being, me.
It's just one of those words that doesn't sound right unless you're saying it in like a London accent. Like you wouldn't say, "Oh, hello, darling," it just sounds stupid. Or "Hello, darling," doesn't know. But if you say, "Oh, my darling," it just works.
Yeah. Hello, love. Hello, darling. Hello, sweetheart. But yeah,
Yeah. See, a northerner like me
can. Careful now, though, don't you? Because people get the ump with you.
See, a northerner like me can say love. Oh, I love, but I can't say darling. And I darling.
Yeah, it's like
doesn't work. Oh, hello.
From my neck of the woods, everyone's mate, geese.
We have an interloper. I've got to change the things again. Hello.
And you call them mate, don't they? So, hello, Chris. Right, geese.
Right, Peter.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hello.
Been quietly listening in the background, but
listening is quite a quiet pursuit.
I thought I'd come along when nobody else was there, but then you got there and he hadn't read any chat for ages, so I was just,
Yeah, he was shirking his responsibilities, Chris.
It's because the chat's all the way over there, and I can't see all the way over there with these lenses on. I can't do chat and tiny things. It just doesn't work. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fine, actually. Yes. Yeah.
Ooh.
I've just been catching up on the game where I died last week, so I can start again this week from where we failed hideously.
Wait, you don't have to start from scratch, do you?
No, I had to start from the week before because I hadn't saved it. It's one of them LucasArts point and click adventures.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know it was possible to fail them and die, but apparently it is.
Oh yeah. Save often, save always. Is it one of the old Scum games?
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Indiana Jones and the Fate of the Holy Contrivance.
Yes.
Yeah, those
9-year-old game.
Yeah, those old games you have to save. Otherwise,
no, all the LucasArts ones, it's not possible to die. You can't do anything wrong. As far as I knew.
Really?
It was never a thing.
I mean, I can't say I ever died. I can't say I ever died.
I played Fandango LucasArts, and I love that game.
Yeah, but you just can't. You can't do anything wrong.
No,
it won't let you.
Well, yeah,
but you can't.
You can.
But you can get to a point where you've not done something right and you can't go any further though. Because I remember I did that in Sam and Max. I couldn't get past the world's biggest ball of twine restaurant because I hadn't.
But you can go back and do it, can't you? You don't have to reload.
In the end, I had to reload because I hadn't done something that I couldn't go back and do. I can't remember what it was now. I think I may have. I think I was supposed to have gone fishing and caught a fish, but I didn't know it. Because, it was one of these like, you're supposed to have gone past this lake that you went past an hour ago and gone fishing, even though there's nothing to tell you to do that.
Normally you can then just go back to it in the same game and do the thing. It doesn't put it behind a locked door or anything normally.
No, I can't remember. There was something anyway. And I never got past the Ball of Twine restaurant. But I know this. That's why I never finished Sam and Max Hit the Road. The only LucasArts game I ever played, to be perfectly honest, and it is Sam and Max, so I'm allowed.
I might go and play that one for you at some point.
Sam and Max is great.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I
played and beaten it back in the day, but
you haven't done what?
I have played and beaten that one back in the day.
It's the source of so many great quotes. Do you mind if I drive, Sam? Not if you don't mind me clawing at the dash and screaming like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So many great quotes from that game. Oh, look, Sam.
Max says hello to me. Andy says it's me. It is me.
It is me.
Ray, hello, Ray. Welcome.
Hey, Ray. I've already said hello to Ray.
I haven't.
You haven't.
Yeah.
Everybody extend the Chris hugs.
Yeah,
Yes, there were plenty of Chris hugs earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not about for long. Just I was going to pop in to keep you company, while you were alone. But you're not alone anymore, so I don't need to stay.
You do need to stay because if you don't, people get sad.
No, they won't. They'll be happy enough.
People will like
it. They can find me later on Team Inept. I'm playing back another VR game later on Team Inept.
What time would that be?
That would be 8 of the PMs.
Ooh. On the Team Inept channel or on your channel?
Right. Over on Team Inept.
Ah.
It's a VR game thing.
The channel that we all set up and that I never do anything on.
That's the one. The one you probably don't even remember where it is or what password is.
It's in a play. I don't remember the password now. I've forgotten all that. So, hey, let's set up this thing where we just do video games. And then I thought, actually, if I do that, I'm not making any money on them. I'll just do them on my channel. Yeah.
It was a good idea, and eventually it will get there, but it's not going to get there quickly. But no. Yeah.
It doesn't help that I'm doing all my gaming stuff on this channel, on my my normal channel, but it's like a catch-22. I want Team Inept to get big so I can make money doing the gaming stuff, but at the same time, I have to do it on my channel.
While you're making it big. Yeah, right.
So it's never going to happen. No.
At some point, Paul will make some content as well at some time, somewhere. But
Steady now. I think that's going a bit too far now. I think you've just taken it too far there, dear. Have to get Colin to hose you down, I think.
I don't want to be hosed. No, I don't want to think of no.
Not again.
No.
My friend, many years ago, my friend Mike had his dog Kea was a Northern Inuit, which is like a cross between a husky, a Malamute, and a German Shepherd. And she was massive, and she was basically like a husky almost, but she was the dumbest dog in the world. She was just the dumbest creature in all of God's creation, but she was adorable. And the only way to wash her, because you couldn't bath her, because she was the size of a horse. And yeah, if she didn't want to get in the bath, you weren't getting her in the bath. Everything else was getting a bath, like the bathroom and you and the stairs, but no. So in the end, the only option they had was to basically just get her outside with a hose pipe to hose her down. And I tell you, that was the most bedraggled looking thing you've ever seen. Is like, she goes from this big floofy husky type dog to this scrawny drowned rat with this really depressed look on her face when she gets hosed down. Oh.
The look on a dog's face when it has to have a bath is hilarious.
Yeah, it really was just like, she was just like such a hard done to pup at that point that her face was like, oh, I thought you loved me, Dad.
I expect that Foxx has much the same look on his face on bath nights.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know, I don't think you're far wrong there, Chris. Yeah.
I can. Microsoft does not comment on rumours and speculation.
Bless him.
Dan's is saying almost the whole gang is here. Hugs all round. Yes,
yay.
It's like Immortal Sunday without the Ted.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna put the link in for you and Ted, but then I didn't because I think I ran out of time, and I thought I bet Ted's probably working anyway. So
he'll either be walking around the Dales or working or something. Yeah, won't it?
I don't think they have the Dales in the Lake District. That'll be the Dales.
They do. They got hills as well.
The hills are alive, with the sound of Ted.
It's all close together up there.
Yeah, there's hardly any distance.
It's all just Wales to you guys, isn't it? Lake District Wales, it's all hills and mountains. It's all mountains and hills.
All
hello,
just
Mama
chimney
Fox.
pots and low clouds, isn't it?
Hello, Mama Fox.
Hello, Mum.
I know she can't hear us, but she's ignoring us all the same anyway. It's because you're not wearing a hat.
Not wearing a hat. I don't have to wear a hat.
You're not wearing a hat, she don't want to know. It's better.
Yeah, if I'm not on the actual telly box, like, you know, looking at people with face, then I don't have to wear the hat thing. So, have you fallen off the old Warhammers a little bit then, Chris? You've not done a Warhammer Sunday for a while.
I've fallen off of the whole model making stuff for a bit.
You
actually.
have? Yeah. You've kind of been swamped by the part works, haven't you?
I've been swamped by partworks in a very enjoyable way. It's lovely, and yeah, I've got another bit of enterprise that.
Oh. I'm just going to be with you in 1 second, guys. Let me give Mama Fox a hand down the stairs. 1 sec.
Down the stairs. Yeah, I've got another episode of this to film in a bit as well. Putting another bit of section onto this. And
as well, yeah. Get in there.
Fox loves all the wires. It's brilliant. It's scary number of windows and things on there. So yeah, I've got that to do a bit later on. I've got one more of them to do and film. But yeah, there's always part work seem to be coming through the door, which is great.
Well, yeah, they are addictive though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? I will get back and obviously do some more normal models at some point in the near future. Now it's not so hot in the room as well. It feels a bit more bench time. So
with a part works in it, you can just sit there and quickly assemble 2 or 3 issues and film it. Job done. You ain't got to worry about.
It takes no time at all.
And airbrushing and anything like that.
Exactly. Just a couple of screwdrivers and you're away.
Absolutely. So, do you wear the special white gloves, or do you leave that to others?
I haven't yet. I've got one sitting around ready in case I do need it. But I did for the start of the Dodge Charger build where it was all shiny panels and stuff. But while it's the internal engines and bits, it's just not worth the effort.
Nah.
It's harder to pick things up.
Yeah, the external bodywork is a fingerprint magnet, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm back.
What I've taken to doing now is when I'm doing a external bit, at the end of the build, I'll give it a polish over before it gets put away, rather than having to worry about it while you're doing the actual building, because you can't pick stuff up with the gloves on. It's difficult.
I'm really glad the stream didn't kick me out while I wasn't here.
No, it's all good.
It hasn't died at all today yet, has it?
Yeah, she was just heading downstairs, but I didn't want to carry in like her iPad and her iPad sponge and a cup and her Kindle and everything else whilst not holding onto the railing, so I gave her a little bit of a hand. I got there and she was like, she was at the bottom step. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll bring. Have you got everything? I forgot my teacup. I'll bring that down for you. Yeah. Right, I am going to disappear. I'm going to go off and do some things, and then I've got to make some food. Chris, what things are you going to do? I told you. You went away just as I was showing you. I've got an Enterprise to build. Look, the inside of the Enterprise to sort out. Oh God, that's huge. There's no way I would ever do that part work, not with all that wiring. It wouldn't happen. Wires and stuff. Look, apparently there's another circuit board to go in next to that one because you fill this one up very soon. Yeah. So. Yeah, I can't imagine enjoying that ever.
Yeah, you can see the cold sweat now, can't you? He's just like, no.
You can hear the cold sweat, never mind see it.
So have a pleasant one. Good to see you again, Cole, for a bit. I'll
take care.
All the hugs and best wishes and everything to everybody.
Thank you for popping in, dude.
Love to share my family, mate.
Yeah, big Gemma hugs.
Thank you. Yeah, she's just there. Look, you can't see her, but she gets nervous and falls over when she thinks there's a camera pointing in her general direction. But,
I'd say big Katie hugs, but she's away at university being drunk all the time now. So
she is away at the moment. She's popping back home next week, though. She's popping home tomorrow. Yeah, for the like half-termy type thing. So.
Does that mean a bag of washing is full, basically?
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be the black bag of washing that they bring home every time.
I thought I'll come and visit you. How much washing have you got? Oh, well, that might be a reason.
No, she's got a laundrette type thing there, so she's all right with that. But yeah, I shall see you tomorrow night, and have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Chris.
8 o'clock tonight.
Yep, 2 minutes, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yep. Like and subscribe.
I've got to change my thing again, haven't I?
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Bye, let's go back to the twofer. Hang on. There we go. It's kind of handy having more than one overlay available.
Oh, absolutely, mate.
Yeah. You know the thing you realise when you start doing chipping?
Yeah.
It's really boring.
Yeah, it is one of those, isn't it? It is
It's
quite a tedious process, but the results are gratifying, aren't they? So
yeah, I mean it's almost more fun to brush paint it doing it on a sponge. But then again, I'm looking at it thinking, oh, it looks terrible because it looks really terrible. But I know when I've done all the other bits and bobs, it'll probably come good.
yeah, but it's also got to dry down as well, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got loads of weathering on it. But yeah, chipping is really boring. Weathering's the fun bit, but chipping can be the boring bit sometimes. Yeah. So anyway, you've been doing a little bit of work on The Secret while you've been in doing your French girl pose, haven't you? A bit of work on a large green mobile suit, I believe.
Yeah, I have been, mate. Yeah,
Little bits of planning and fettling.
Bits of planning and scribing and fettling, and yeah, it's going to be a steampunk version of a Gundam. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's various donations of parts, clock springs, and that are working their way to Festa Towers.
All I heard in my head then was curly clock springs, and that's not an image I want.
Cogs and clock springs and stuff. So yeah, it's different.
For those that don't know, you're doing the Kshatriya, aren't you?
Oh yeah, Kshatriya Gundam, yeah.
I can kind of almost see in my head what I can imagine you do with it. I know whatever you do will be a billion times better than what I can imagine, but in my head I can kind of imagine what you would.
It was that moment where you've got the four wings, so to speak. It was cutting a large section of that away so that I can then put panels in and have it opening to reveal stuff. And
oh yeah,
mesh is going to be employed and
mesh.
So yeah, it's that planning stage, isn't it, where you just sit there, cover it in masking tape, and draw on all the different panel lines you want to play with. Now I've got it in my head where I want to go with it. I can sit there and film it. So
yeah, good. Well, it's good you've been able to do some bits and bobs while you've been recovering.
Well, yeah, it just occupies the brain, doesn't it? It's if I'd had my way, I'd have had a full load of paint up here and everything. But
yeah,
it's not the right way of doing it, is it? Let's be honest. The bench will still be there. So
yeah, but there's people that paint with their feet, so you can build a model with lying down.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I'll bring that up and sit there and denub a few bits and plan some of the build out, and so I've got a direction now that it can go in.
Good. It's just a good way to keep the mojo ticking over, isn't it? More than anything else.
Well, yeah, it keeps, like I say, it just keeps the interest going, doesn't it? Because it's one of them builds where I was going to Warhammer it, and I thought, well, Warhammer's Warhammer, and I'd rather keep the Warhammer as that.
Yeah.
I'm like, Orca Fire Gundam, pretty much the world expects me to do that anyway, so let's just go at a different angle.
Yeah, let's break the expectations.
Yeah, so steampunk seems to be the way to go with it. So I've got a load of metal colours and things that I can employ, and so looking forward to it, to be honest.
Now, I have to ask, without giving too much away, obviously, you can decline to answer. Are you going to scratch build a short top hat and a set of goggles? You hadn't thought about that, had
you? I hadn't. I could kind of see how that would work. Yeah.
Now, I did find, bizarrely, when I was doing my Cesabe, I did find a guy in Japan that makes small photo etch glasses frames, like in various scales, like 1/6, 1/8, 1/12. And I think I found other people that did things like small photo etch, like goggles and things, for like 1/8 and 1/6 scale figures. So it might be worth having a look. Or just 3D printing stuff, of course, is the other option.
Yeah, it's definitely something worth looking at because it's got an appeal to it. I've looked at sort of mechanical parts that I've got laying around that can be incorporated into it. So Yeah, it's going to be different, but enjoyable. You know, so why not do it?
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you do with it. I think it's going to be epic. Especially as it's
Andy
going to
McLeod, he says he's going to utter a phrase that's going to shock us all. His missus has agreed to a 3D printer.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Well, I'm not that shocked. Well, I am that shocked, actually.
It's one of those things I bought. I'm glad I bought the 3D printers, you know, because they have really come into their own. It's not for everyone. You know, not everyone gets on with it. But yeah, they do give you that creative string to your bow, don't they? So.
Yeah. I mean, I did think about a 3D printer for quite a while, but I just know what would happen is because I am so technically useless that I know I'd get it and I wouldn't be able to set it up and it wouldn't work right and I'd get frustrated and I'd get all grumpy and then I'd just put it away and I'd never use it. Also, I've got nowhere to put them.
I know a few people that have bought them since I have that have used them once or twice and never bothered again because they didn't get on with it. You know, it's not for everyone. You know, but
yeah, it's not.
With me, I kind of knew that I'd use it for some of the stuff I normally would scratch build anyway.
Yeah, I can absolutely see the you know the benefits of having one, especially you know. I don't do scratch building like you do, but there's been times when I've had to make things out of plastic cards and stuff and little bits and bobs that would be handy to do. But you know, if I'm making a load of deathcore tanks, for example, to sell, it's kind of better if I can 3D print the dude rather than have to spend 20 quid on a tank commander. But you know, hey.
Yeah, I'm sure someone could 3D print you a shed load of that type of thing.
Oh no, I mean if I had my own printer kind of thing, I'd do that. I don't mind actually, you know, spending the money on it really, but it's just it would be kind of, you can see the benefits of having one.
Oh yeah.
I hate it when you get all the paint off the sponge apart from one little bit, and then that little bit goes bing. There you go, all the paint on the model. Thanks.
Yeah, it's when the sponge sticks to the model, and then you've got to try and.
Well, I'm trying all careful to be all little tiny chips, and I'm just put a big dot of paint on there like a spoon. Never mind.
Battle damage.
Yeah, dust and dirt. There you go.
Yeah, bit of dust, bit of dirt, bit of rust. Yeah, job done.
Battle damage on the fuel tank on the back. Always a winner. That was a fun thing the other day when I think it was on the E-Model show when we were talking about the T62 and somebody said it's such a stupid idea to have fuel tanks on the back of the tank exposed, and Ted was like, actually it makes perfect sense because if it takes a hit it doesn't blow up the people inside the tank.
Yeah,
it actually just blows up.
At the end of the day, we're all driving around in a car where underneath the back seat is a fuel tank, isn't it?
Yeah, so it does make kind of sense that the fuel tanks are external because then if they do take damage they're less likely to blow your tank up.
Absolutely, you know, it's like motorcycles. You're riding around with a petrol tank right underneath your chest. It's like
right in your gentleman's area. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not something you want to voluntarily do. It's like if you've got a lightweight Land Rover, you've got a fuel tank under the driver's seat and the passenger seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you get out, please? I need to refill. Oh.
Yeah.
Right, I'm bored chipping now.
Yeah, I can kind of tell that you're losing the will to live with.
Yeah, my chipping gets faster and less careful.
Yeah, I've had enough of this now.
When I start painting the rusty colour, that's going to be with a brush, so it's a bit more interesting. But this is just dabbing.
Yeah, but it's that multiple layers of painting in it, where you know it's got to be done and you've got to do it, but sometimes you struggle to motivate yourself to do it. I know.
Yeah, I've always had the same problem, whether it's drawing or painting a model or writing music. I love the end result, but I sometimes hate the process of actually getting to the end result because I get bored really quick. I get quite impatient.
Yeah, when I've done it, I try to sort of break it down into like front, side, back, top and bottom and just chip that bit and then that's it. Following day I'll do the next bit or the next bit.
That's the big downside of Gunpla though, because I've just done all the arm, now I've got another one to do. You've got to do like 2 arms and 2 legs. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I found that when I did that wing, it's like, I've got another 3 of these to do.
The binder things, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'll put that in the box and come back with it when I'm at the bench.
And as with all chipping, of course, at the moment I'm thinking I've done too much. I've done far too much. It's terrible. I've ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah, it always flows together, doesn't it?
Yeah. See, to me, that looks like it's got the measles now.
It's like anything, though, isn't it? In real life, pretty much, chicken moving random, isn't it?
Thing is, that's great. I've still got 4 sponsons, the turret, and the big turret to do.
Yeah.
So I've not even finished yet. God damn it.
It's a bit like when you do a dot filter, in it, and you put all different colours on them. Before you drag it, you're like, yeah, that looks like a Picasso with the measles. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right, so I'm going to take a quick break and I'll have a quick look at chat. Where did you get up to? My chat fell over?
I got up to Panzer, I think it was. What was he saying? It was... I think he was saying hello to Sai.
Miha says, nice investment, Andy. A 3D printer fan myself. I must congratulate you. Welcome, Miha. I assume your surname is pronounced Schmeigel? Schmeigel? If I get that wrong, I do apologise. Order it quick before she changes her mind, says Muse. I'm more partial to a monocle than just goggles for it, says Dan Kramer about your steampunk Kshatriya.
Yeah.
Monocle, you say? Oh.
Monocle and smoking jacket.
Ooh. Yeah, and maybe like a scale meerschaum pipe.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. I promised nothing. She wanted a laser etcher, but the one she wants would have been too big for the house. Cy Reynolds says, you ask magnets need to stop waffling and read chat. I don't think we do. No need to read that chat anyway.
No.
We should read all the chat apart from anything from anybody called Cy Kevin Reynolds, I think.
Especially when he calls me a beached whale.
Where do you say that? I've not got that yet. I've not got that yet, have I? People talk about 3D printers, so I'll skim past that because I don't understand. Dan Kramer says 33 of us watching and 15 likes. Stick your thumb up it, people. Yes, please do give thumbs up. Yes, Fox, it's pronounced that way, lol. By the way, I'm just Django in the Discord. So, oh, hello, Buggy. Schmeigel. I got it right, Schmeigel. Oh, near enough, I suppose. He's probably just being polite. Dan Kramer said I said Kshatriya normally. Note that. Oh, write that down.
Oh, I did, or you did?
No, I did, apparently.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Because you normally tell me off, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Dan Kramer said, stick your thumb up at people. And Andy McLeish says, phrasing, Dan, phrasing.
Phrasing,
I think he missed a comma. Where did he call you a beach whale? Have I missed that?
In the chat. Yeah.
Was it earlier? Oh, I'm lazy. Hey, others. Blanket hug. Oh, yeah. I'm jealous of you. Oh, hi. Is that a beach whale? Is that Kate? Was it? Such a nasty man, isn't he?
It's so cruel. So cruel.
Flipping Chorlton.
Because I made him laugh that time and his leg fell off. I mean, it was innocent mistake.
It's not like you call him Chorlton, is it? Chorlton and the Wheelies or anything?
Absolutely, mate.
I think we should call him Chorlton from now on. If he's going to call you a beach whale. Paint me like one of your beached cetaceans.
Yeah.
What's your plan for the dinners tonight then, buddy? Oh, I've got paint on my finger. Look.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, yes.
Toast. Toast and more toast.
Mate. A little bit of toast.
Because I do like a bit of toast. It's like anything, because I'm laid down a lot at the moment. A full-blown dinner ain't the greatest thing to have, is it? You know what I mean?
No, because you can't really, you're not sitting up and enjoying it, are you? You've got to...
Can't sit up and enjoy it. Can't really burn the calories off. So
no. You mean like I don't know, McDonald's perhaps with 2 burgers?
Well, yeah, I had that the other night, and I must admit I was proper. Stick a fork in me, mate. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Colin sent me a photograph, and I was very happy to note that I'm not the only person in the world that can't have just one burger from McDonald's. If I order McDonald's, I can't have just one burger.
No, you got to have a chaser, ain't you?
Yeah, you got to have like a A Big Mac and a quarter pounder, or a Big Mac and McTasty or whatever that Big Tasty, the one they get occasionally.
Oh yeah, my missus got me the double Mac, so it was like 4 burgers in the bloody thing. I'm like, oh, Bennett, I won't eat all that.
I've had that.
I did.
I had that once. I tried it the other week, and it was really nice. But the moment I picked it up, it exploded into smithereens. And
it disintegrates under its own weight, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have to admit, to my shame, I had to resort to knife and fork. I know, but there was literally no way to pick it up because it had no structure. It was like jelly.
I just picked away at it like a carcass, mate. At the end of the day, I was like, under no circumstances is cutlery going to be used on this.
Yeah, I had no choice.
Yeah,
because I'm not just going to pick up a burger that's just a burger.
Andy McLeish says he has a Big Mac followed by the nuggets. Good man, good shout.
Yeah, I must admit that occasionally I've had like a full meal, but also ordered a box of 20 share nuggets, and they either get eaten there and then, or an hour later, or the next day. One of the three.
Yeah, see, I'm a bit partial to a cold KFC.
I
know it's not really, isn't it?
No, I've never actually had cold KFC because there's never any left the next day.
Yeah, I normally leave it and have it the following day. It's like, the missus will say, do you want a KFC this week? I'll go, well, if you get it Thursday, I'll have it Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, how can you eat it cold? I said, easy, just let it go cold. I love it.
I love their chips, but I don't like their chips cold because they just turn into cold chips. Same with McDonald's.
They're not.
Any fries, they really never really work the next day.
Yeah, they're not great, are they?
No.
Mind you, wimpy.
I don't know. Really I can't. Shut up. We'll have none of this wimpulatory conversation, thank you.
Thousand Island dressing.
I'm just I'm issuing a cease and desist right now with the wimpy chatter. Fascists.
Half pound wimpy burger with strawberry shake and double fries.
Shut up. I've got no memory of what the milkshakes tasted like, and I hate you. You can just shut up.
It was proper brain freeze, wasn't it?
I don't know. I was like 12 when I last had a wimpy, before they just shut the place down in my hometown and never opened another one. Twats.
Yeah. Oh, that's just unacceptable, mate. Yeah. It's just not on, is it?
Well, they closed it when McDonald's appeared. Bollocks.
White Glove Model says when he visits the UK, the first thing he wants to have is proper fish and chips. Get it up north and get a pot of northern gravy with it, mate.
Yeah, don't have fish and chips down south because they don't do good gravy. This is one of the few.
But my chippy's a northerner and he does the proper big pot of northern gravy.
Yeah, unless you're visiting Col and you can go to his local chippy.
Mate, it's the nuts.
Yeah, south of Leicester or Birmingham, you'll just get curry sauce, which is nice, but it's not gravy. You need to go to a proper Chinese chip shop. What we call a Chinese chippy, which is basically a Chinese takeaway it's a fish and chip shop that also does Chinese takeaway, because they have the best gravy.
Oh yeah.
They're just colloquially known as the Chinese chippy.
Absolutely.
Yep. And if you go to a non-Chinese chippy, they don't really have the same gravy.
No, it's not the same, is it?
No, it's not quite the same. There's like one supplier that just supplies Chinese chip shops, basically, I think.
Yeah.
And he supplies all of them in the north, so they all have the same gravy. It's just,
God, I haven't had a proper Chinese meal in ages.
Need to sort that out then, don't you, at some point?
Yeah, I need to sort that out. I need to get the chopsticks out.
Yep.
That normally ends really well for me.
Oh, yeah.
Me with chopsticks is like listening to a field of crickets. It's like,
Psh, psh, psh. What, you rub your legs together?
Yeah, I get the click, I get the twitches, don't I? So it's like...
Yeah,
I persevere. I am determined to use these.
You've learned over the years to make sure it's the sticky rice, not fried rice.
Yeah.
Boiled rice is better. Yeah. La 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 la. What's chat doing? I'm still depending on you a little bit.
Going to be hitting us up for recommendations when the wife and I are there for the best places to eat in the UK. Absolutely, mate.
Anywhere that sells pot noodle. Bonus.
Yeah, beef and tomato.
No.
Mind you, I did walk over to the shelf of pot noodleness and move the beef and tomato across so that I could get to a chicken and mushroom.
Damn.
Yes,
Developments are developing.
Yeah, said, are you feeling all right? I said, I just fancy a chicken and mushroom one today.
You know what that is? That's like you may be in the Warhammer hole, but you're also just at the same place as the pot noodle hole. You're in the green pot noodle hole. You just don't know it yet.
You're bad.
You just don't know it yet. Oh, I'm bad. You pay me, I'm even more bad.
What's he got? Candygram says, what's the difference between mono and photo curing?
It's a 3D printing thing. I know nothing of such things.
Dan says he really wants a resin printer. He's a filament. I really love the idea of having both for different tasks. Yeah, that's why I got a filament one first, because anything structural I use the filament for. But if I want detail like figures, busts and that, then that's where the resin comes in handy, because you can get hyper detail.
You're a bit partial to a nice bust, aren't you, Cole?
I like a nice bust, mate.
Who doesn't like a nice bust?
Yeah.
Filament. It's a lovely word, but out of context, it's quite absurd.
Max got a good question. He says, I'm going to ask a Warhammer rookie question.
Okay, and none of us are experts, but we'll do our best to get it wrong. I mean, answer the question.
Absolutely, he says, and I don't know this because I haven't used them. He says, but does anyone use the decals supplied?
Yeah. Games Workshop decals are actually some of the best decals around. They're second only, I would say, to Cartograph.
Yeah.
Because you can put them on without a gloss coat. The carrier film is minimal. They're a bit thick, but yeah, they're brilliant decals. But it depends what you're doing. It depends. I mean, it depends what it is. If you're building, say, Space Marines, then in reality you probably only have Ultramarine decals. But if you're not building Ultramarines, you're not going to use the decals. If you're building, say, Blood Angels, and you've only got Ultramarine decals, you know, if you're building a specific faction, you may not have the decals. Games Workshop do sell decal sets, and so do Forge World as well, for various things. Or there's third parties you can get, but yeah, no, they're really good decals. They do a good water slide, or transfer as they call them. That's the funny thing about Games Workshop. Considering they're not really a model manufacturing company, they make some of the best models and decals in the business. It's very strange.
Adeptus Latrina saying good morning, everyone.
Morning.
He's also saying the best place to eat in the UK is France.
Yes. I don't know about that.
AJ says, hello, Cole. Good to see you back. He's currently 3D printing a Fireball XL5 on his Create ECR10 V2. He says, loving what you can do with it, and it was a fantastic investment. Happy days, mate. They are. They really can lend themselves to the hobby, I think, you know, because, like I say, you can add all your detritus, ground stuff, barrels, all of that, not just print them out.
The thing is, it shouldn't really be seen as anything separate to making a kit. Or, you know, if you 3D print and paint something, it's no different to building a kit and painting it. It's still a model. It's still valid. It's just a new thing.
I get asked quite a lot whether I think 3D printing will replace model kits. No, I don't, because the effort it would take to 3D print a model kit on sprues just isn't worth it. However, you can incorporate 3D printing into the hobby by doing all your detail up stuff in resin.
Yeah.
Things like, you know, you might have bought a car that a kit that hasn't got an engine. Well, you can go and design the engine in Blender.
Yeah.
Export it as an SGL or an object file. You can 3D print it. You can scale it to whatever size you want, I do a lot of resin wheels and tyres for my car build.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll design the wheels and print them in resin, and then the tyres I print on the filament printer using TPU, and it's squishy rubber. You know, it's perfect.
I mean,
you know, do that sort of thing with it.
Yeah, I don't think 3D printing is at the stage right now where a model company would offer. See, in the future, you might find that companies, they'll say, right, you can buy the kit for X amount, and it's a bit more expensive because you've got to pay for packaging and we've got to make it, and it'll be in high quality polystyrene and whatever, or you can buy the model as an STL file and it might be a bit cheaper, but you've got to print it yourself.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of places that offer that service where you can buy, say for instance, like a Forge World styled model.
Yeah.
And you can buy the STL file to print it, or you can pay them to print it. It's whatever choice you've got.
But it might, it might be, for example, a company that produces traditional kits. They might say, yeah, we'll still make kits on sprues that you get in a box and with the instructions and stuff. But if you want to do it yourself, that's fine. We'll just give you the downloadable STL files. It might be that it's you know, you don't get the instructions, or you know, you don't get any packaging, so it's a bit cheaper. But it's never going to be the same quality as the one made in the factory. But I think companies will one day start to do that. But I don't think 3D printing is at that stage yet. I don't think it's good enough.
No, I look at, for an example, the Insane Blade, all the cranes and the ball and chains and all of that, all came off my resin 3D print.
Yep. I think
so it was perfect for something like that.
I think there's still a big enough gulf between the quality of a kit on a sprue, a kit from a manufacturer, and a kit, you know, plastic injection molded kit, and a 3D printed kit that manufacturers aren't feeling the pinch just yet. But I mean, eventually they'll probably embrace it and start offering that kind of thing, I think.
Well, the thing is once they've made the molds, they can mass produce it very quickly and very rapidly, whereas the whole 3D printing process is quite a long, tedious process.
Yeah,
that alone rules it out.
Yeah, I mean, for the manufacturer, once they've designed the sprues, they can just make that file available for download. So somebody can spend 50 quid on a boxed plastic kit that's plastic injection moulded and high impact polystyrene, or they can spend 15 quid on just the STL files and a downloadable instruction sheet, and they print it themselves, you know? Because at the end of the day, if I was a manufacturer, I know that not everybody would have a 3D printer, so I'd still keep making my models, but I'd also accept the fact that there are people who, you know, have a 3D printer, so I make this wonderful model kit of a thing, and all the people that buy the model kit will make it, but everybody with a 3D printer won't buy it and won't make it. So why don't I also capture them and make the file available just for them so they can make their own?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they wouldn't have bought the kit. So it makes sense to offer them their version of it.
Yeah, I mean, when I got mine, I just looked at ways of trying to integrate the 3D printing into what I do, but it will never replace buying a kit because it's two totally different things.
Yeah.
You know, but certainly a lot of what I did on Insane Blade, I wouldn't have been able to do without the resin printer.
No.
If I had of, you know, it would have cost me a small fortune to buy all the bits in from aftermarket companies anyway. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure one day there'll be a home solution for printing things in plastic that will be just as good as quality as a industrially injection molded plastic kit. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there'll be a solution for that eventually, and that's when manufacturers will start to embrace, the fact that they can sell kits, but they can also sell just the raw data for people to.
Oh, this is it. You know, it's far easier for them to sell a digital download than it is to pay a company to produce the plastic, the molds, pack it, put it in a box, send it out on a pallet to a shop. You know.
Yeah.
All of that is gone because it's a digital download. So
yeah, it's just an extra revenue, extra way of doing it. Yeah. It's like the way I think of it. It's like saying, you know, go back far enough, and all the like. Look at wargaming. It was all tin soldiers and lead soldiers in the 50s and 60s, And in the 70s, it was all tin soldiers, and then plastic injection moulding became the norm for model kits. And you could have said, yeah, but this will be the death of tabletop miniatures now because it's all plastic, and, you know, plastic doesn't have the quality of the metal miniatures. And it was true for a long time. Plastic injection moulded models weren't as crisp and detailed, figures and things, as metal miniatures. And that's why, for example, Games Workshop set up Forge World, because at that time, Forge World could do really high detail, crisp models that Games Workshop couldn't really mould in plastic because the plastic moulding technology they had wasn't as good. But then eventually, you know, plastic injection moulding got to the point where it rivaled metal, and now you very rare that you find metal miniatures.
This is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah,
but you've got to look at Bandai and Games Workshop stuff now.
Yeah,
compared to 15 years ago. Bloody hell!
I mean, nowadays, you know, you very rare you find metal miniatures anymore because they're just not as good as plastic. So I think, you know, 3D printing will get there, and I think companies will just. I don't think it'll be the death knell of plastic kits. Because
no, I certainly don't think it will be in our lifetime because the technology hasn't been refined to that level.
Yeah, and there's always the thing of, you know, you buy a kid a model kit and he makes it. You buy a kid an STL file, well, that's not very exciting, is it? What a 5-year-old kid's going to sit and wait for a thing to print out? It's not, that's, you know, they won't have 3D printers. That's what their parents will have. I don't know. We're just old men shouting at the clouds, ultimately, but...
Oh, I've had a message off Dad. It says, West Ham beat Spurs 1-0. Can I tell Pussy Galore if he's in the chat? Laugh out loud.
I don't understand.
Yeah, Paul in chat's a Spurs fan.
Makes no sense to me. So look, people are still talking about 3D printers. Temporary Bobbins is in. He says, belly, chicken, drumsticks and a mince pie, bench 1350 USS North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
Adeptus says, is it wrong to wash a bacon and egg and cheese croissant down with lager at 8 AM? Yes, because lager's foul stuff. Drink ale. Yep. Don't drink lager. There's a company in the USA 3D printing real-size space rockets to launch satellites next year, says AJ. There are companies that actually 3D printing houses. And let's not forget, there are companies now 3D printing biological things. Like bits of, you know, tissues and stuff, and organs.
Yeah.
And there is also 3D printed food. I mean, I suppose you can really 3D print anything as long as you can make it into a little thing, can't you? Into a extrudable substance.
I often get it where people say, "Oh, I've broke this. Can you print me one?" And it's sometimes not as easy as that because to make a duplicate, you've got to 3D scan what you've got.
Yeah, or design the thing.
Not everyone has a 3D scanner or a LiDAR sensor on their phone or whatever to do that. So that's the difficult side of it. It can be done, but the results aren't always as good as the original molded piece because you're using a 3D scan that you're then importing into a PC.
Well, without
if you don't spend a lot of time editing the file in Blender, you're going to end up with a bit of a slightly undetailed mess, to be honest.
Yeah, because if you can't scan it, then what people don't realise is when they say, can you make me this? It's like, can you please design in a 3D CAD software? Yeah, I'll just design an entire boat for you, car, spaceship. Because you know, because I am a shipbuilder or an engineer.
Yeah, I mean, you can use photogrammetry. You know, it is a thing. You know, where you can scan a 3D object with a modern smartphone and play with the file in the software and export it. But it's not always that easy.
No.
You know, you've still got to work with the file. You've got to work with the rendered file, and anything that is missing from the scan, you've got to recreate. And you don't always have the time, the inclination, or the resources to do it.
Yeah, there really is no can you just, is there? Well, unless it's a pre-existing STL file that you can just download. Yeah. Even then, you still got to fart around with it.
If it's an existing file, then you can download that and go, I'll print your a facsimile of it, sort of thing, but it won't be identical. It's just a standard wheel from a standard car. But you know.
Adeptus Latrina says ale is bottled bile. It clearly has no taste. Banned.
Yeah, Jeff's got it bang on. He says when someone asks me to 3D print something for them, he says I give them Thingiverse's URL and ask them to locate an appropriate file.
Yep.
Before I say yes or no. Yeah, absolutely, mate.
How can you say? How can Adeptus say that ale is bile? Lager is dross. Lager is just wee in a glass.
Lager's burping juice, isn't it?
Ale is proper man's beer.
If it hasn't got bits of field and farmyard detritus in it, it's not a real ale.
If it's not brown with twigs, then I don't want to know, thank you. Lager's just fighting juice. I don't know. Shouting juice.
AJ says there's a vet that's 3D printing bones for dogs and cats to replace real ones damaged in road accidents. Oh, that's good.
Well, one of our friends, Paul, Paul, he's got a kitten who's at the moment paraplegic. I don't know if it's permanent or as a result of something. I can't quite remember. But it's got like no use of its back legs, bless it. It has to wear a nappy and everything, bless it. But we were saying the other day, you're going to make like a Lego trolley for it so it can wheel itself about, and he's like, might do, or 3D print something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the technology's come on massively. But yeah, there's more potential. I mean, it's we often say this, don't we, where we would love to be able to come back in 300 or 400 years just to see where technology has gone and what is possible in the future, because technologies like this are going to get massive, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I sometimes feel sad for the things that I won't witness because I'll be gone. I'm happy that I live.
What we've witnessed in our lifetime, the technology changes.
Yeah.
It's been a good period of time, isn't it? Really, when you look back at what we've seen happen.
Well, that's the thing. Technology. That's the thing. On one hand, I feel grateful that I'm living at a time of such technological inventiveness and marvels, where we all have healthcare and we don't walk around made of disease. But at the same time, when you're young, you think now is the best time to be around. But when you get older, you realise actually the best time to be around is then, not now. It's the bit I'm not going to be here for, probably.
Oh yeah.
And I feel sad sometimes that I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the developments in flight, television, home computers, CDs, anything like that we've seen, mobile phone technology, the internet, how everything has evolved. I mean, look at the hobby, sort of 20 years ago, YouTube webcams and things like that were in their infancy.
Oh, yeah.
And look at the progress we've seen in that. I'm laying here now interacting with you, and we got our little audience there and we're having a laugh and a joke, but the simplicity of it now, we just push a button, whereas we wouldn't have been able to think of this 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago, I'd be paying a fortune for this and you'd be wearing a slinky outfit, but,
Yeah, I'd have been in a cheeky sort of number going, hello, ladies.
Yeah. But
yeah, that sounds so wrong.
The thing that made me sad is not just a general realisation that we're going to miss things, but it's when you realise the things that you're going to miss that it suddenly hits home. Like, we're probably not going to see, and these are things that might happen in the scale of things that probably will or hopefully will happen. We're probably not going to see a human being walk on Mars. It'll probably happen, but it's going to be long after we're gone. Yeah, we're not going to see that. There's no even guarantee that we'll see another human on the moon. I think we probably will, but that one's probably likely.
No base alpha to be a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're not going to see. We're probably not going to see a human on Mars. We might be around for practical fusion, but we probably won't be around for when fusion becomes the de facto method of generating power.
Yeah.
Like, we'll probably see
I'm just disappointed that I'm not driving an hover car.
Yeah, I'm not wearing a silver suit and on my meals and a pill. But it's like, you know, we'll see the breakthrough probably when they announce that it's now practical, but it'll be another 30 or 40 years before it becomes as commonplace as, say, a power station, or a, you know, until every power station is a fusion plant.
Oh yeah, I'd like to be around to see that massive non-fossil fuel energy breakthrough that is globally changing everything, because I don't think it's that far away, but
I think it's beyond our lifetime now that it becomes the norm.
It's its infancy still, isn't it?
Yeah, I think by the time we go, yeah, I mean, in reality, let's be honest, by the time we go, everything will be on fire anyway, so this might have been the best time to be around, because after this it's just even worse. You just don't know, I suppose.
Well, this is it. I mean, we all sort of yearn for that, you know, technological breakthrough, you know, the cure for cancer, that sort of thing, you know, but it's like anything, Mother Nature, it's a natural cycle of life and death, isn't it, at the end of the day? And if you cure every illness, people are going to live forever, and that's not good for anyone, is it? So
no. Because then soap operas would just go on forever, and you'd just be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I have enough trouble getting about now at 54. I wouldn't want to be 354. I'd be knackered.
Well, you'd assume that they would have ways to make things easier, but, you know, to mitigate that.
It's one of them, innit, where would you want to live that long? I don't know. I think you would. Yeah, I think you'd get bored at some point, wouldn't you?
I had a realisation once when we were having a conversation with someone who was doing the usual thing about, you know, would you want to be immortal? I'm talking about, you know, what superpowers would you have? And somebody said, I want to be immortal. And I was like, I wouldn't want to be immortal, not without a kill switch where I can end my own life, like by saying, right, I've had enough now, bang. Because imagine you're immortal. Yeah. People don't realise this, right? But imagine you're immortal. You can't die. You are Jack Harkness. You can't die. And if you do die, you come back to life. Sounds great. Except... what happens when our sun becomes a red giant and there's no life on Earth?
Yeah.
Bit boring, and also it'll be about 300 degrees. And then what happens? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what happens when the sun actually engulfs the Earth? Suddenly you're floating in space, or you're in the middle of the sun, which is kind of bad. And eventually, you know, because if you're immortal, at some point, all odds suggest at some point you'll be trapped underground in the ruins of a building that collapsed in an earthquake. Yeah. So what happens then?
Exactly. That's a rather long and boring stay underground, isn't it?
Yeah. The odds are you will either end up buried in the heart in somehow, and then stuck underground forever, and eventually just embedded into the core of a planet, because you'd be stuck underground for millions of years and you'd get subducted, or you'd end up floating around in space and constantly dying and coming back to life and dying and coming back to life. It'd suck, because eventually you'd outlive the universe and the heat death and there'd be nothing left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd like a bit of time travel, just skip forward, skip back and do that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to be immortal.
No.
I have a curiosity as to what will change, what will be the next big thing, and you kind of want to see it, don't you?
Yeah, you want to be able to like cheat it and go and say, right, what happened? What will happen when? You
know, you might not want to live in the world that exists, because it might be a bit pants.
Yeah.
But you know, if you go and spend the night there and go, oh yeah, I was right. Yeah, okay, I've seen enough. I've seen it now. I'm going to go back. You know, well, off you go for another trundle somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
But I do like that kind of, like, the limitations of immortality is that you would end up just floating in space. Yeah. You would end up either in the core of a planet, in the heart of a sun, or floating in space. I mean, eventually you'd just end up floating in space because there'd be nothing left. Or you get sucked into a black hole, you know.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's everything has a natural life cycle. Your universe, the planets, everything. You know, it constantly evolves and devolves. So yeah.
But imagine if you could, like, die but come back to life like Jack Harkness, but you were trapped in the depths of space. You'd, like, come back to life, instantly die, come back to life, instantly die. You'd imagine that for billions of years.
Be the worst Groundhog Day you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. Basically, your existence would be constant death in the vacuum of space. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna die in about 8 minutes. Oh well, here comes the grand piano that's gonna fall on me. Bink, yeah.
Yep. Here comes the searingly cold temperatures and everything boiling off. Excellent.
Graham Robert says Fester would travel back to the 80s again. I'd go back to the 70s, mate.
Yeah, no one wants to go back to the 80s. 80s are far too depressing.
Yeah. I'd go back to the 70s because I was that inquisitive sort of 10-year-old kid in the 70s and I wanted to see what was going on. And, yes. And the music and everything, it just seemed better.
I'd want to go back to the 70s because the 80s were terrible because I was a schoolboy and I had spots and I was scared of girls. And I had to do homework and it was exams because it was secondary school. So the 80s was shit. The 90s was shit because I had to get my first job and it sucked. And then every decade after that was being rubbish because I had to have a job. The only half decent decade when I've been an adult is like, you know, say 2005 onwards when I started doing this. But in reality,
I'd be worried about bumping into anyone I now know and them seeing me with that rather dodgy mullet that I had in the 80s. So I'd want to go back to the 70s.
Has Dad not put that picture up somewhere yet?
No, I'm under threat of duress that the mullet picture will be released.
It will be released. You can leave it with me. But yeah, so the only decade I've not experienced as an adult was the 70s, and it was brilliant because I was a kid and everything was brilliant in the 70s.
Well, yeah.
So I'd love to go back and see it as an adult.
Well, you lived it as a child, didn't you? You didn't have any real life responsibilities. It was
exactly
climbing trees, eating mud, firing pea shooters at people, and that was it.
Yeah, you know, it was like mud, trees, worm falling out of trees. Yeah. Everything was Germans. It was brilliant. Yeah. But yeah, it's in reality, of course, what I actually know is it would probably be really depressing because I've got this rose-tinted view of the 70s from being a kid. And if I saw it as an adult, I'd probably realise it was really a horrible decade.
Yeah, I mean, I said to me mum, you know, about this. You know, we all have it, don't we, where we've got that childlike adoration of the 70s. And I said to her about it. She said, I hated it. It was the 3-day week, the power cuts, you know, the threat of nuclear war into the 80s. She said it was always looming. She said, I had 4 kids that were youngsters that were, you know, going into the world. She said, you panicked as a parent in the 70s for their future.
Your mum was probably like, I can imagine your mum saying, I hated it because I had you as a son for a start in the 70s and you were a pain in the arse. That's what my mum would have said. Eh?
Yeah, I mean, she does need a medal, bless her heart, because I was a bit of a tearaway, mate, but, you know. Yeah. She said, I always said he wouldn't play well with others, she'd go. I'll be there black and blue with red knuckles because I've spread someone's nose across their face, you know.
Sounds about right.
Doesn't mix well with others, you know. But...
Who'd have thunk it, huh?
Yeah, bless her. But like I say, you know, no one ever disrespected me mum, you know what I mean?
No.
She's your mum, innit? You know what I mean?
Well, because she's your mum and you disrespect them back.
Yeah, you know, but we all tried it on, but as tiny, it's funny, I remember her knocking me sister out with her Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember them round Hoovers, the white and the grey one?
Yeah, they were like it, yeah. Yeah, with like the little bit flange at the bottom, because it used to hover a little bit on a cushion of air.
My sister was giving me mum a bit of the old goofy, right? And she called her an old cow or some derogatory name. And my mum spun this Hoover around her head like a cowboy's lasso and launched it down the hallway. And I remember it taking my sister out like a bowling ball, mate. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate.
Andy McLeish, by the way, says, OK, I started a debate on 3D printers and now it's evolved into a more sombre view. Damn it, I should have kept my mouth shut. But now it's gone back. Now it's gone back to 70s, so it's all come good.
Absolutely.
And of course, Andy McLeish.
If someone had said to you in the 70s about 3D printing, you would have thought they was an alien, wouldn't you?
You'd be like, you what?
You'd be like, you're having a bubble, ain't you? That ain't a thing.
Although it's the kind of thing that before 3D printing existed, we all used to sit and think, God, imagine if you could just like print your own models. We probably all thought of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the annoying thing about it is the simplicity of the technology that they use.
Yeah.
And that's the annoying thing about it when you think, actually, it really is a simple process. Why on earth didn't anyone think of it before?
I'll remind you of that next time you're cursing that some bit doesn't work properly or this thing isn't calibrated and you can't quite get it right and it's a pain in the arse.
Ah, but I've modified my print now, so it doesn't. I've not just chat readers up there. I've built a complete new print head for my filament printer. So.
You don't look as half as stupid as you are, you know.
No,
like me.
No, I like to modify things. You've probably noticed.
I may have noticed that. I finished the chipping. Well, that I'm not going to chip under there. There's no point. Well, I finished that bit of chipping anyway. I've got to do the middle colour now, the brown colour.
I'm proud of yourself.
Although I need to let my elbow settle itself out for a little bit. Oh, my elbow's really knackered at the minute. I've probably got like elbow cancer or something. I'm going to die from like elbow disease or something.
Oh, I can so tell that you're getting near 50.
It's just this one elbow. It's like, if I sit like this for a while, it goes, pain. And then it hurts all day, and then I can't sleep, and then I hate everybody. And just, you know.
Yeah, Panzer Koenig says, yeah, but Cole, in the 80s, that metal mullet would be a thing again. Yeah, it was a good mullet, mate. I thought it was at the time, but...
Paul DiTomaso says, would you really want to go back to a time when there was no internet, no or slow-ass PCs, no cell phones, and so much more? Well, we didn't miss it then, because we didn't have it.
No,
and
right.
Don't forget, like, you know, when I was a kid, we had a Pong machine, and that was mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah, the 10-in-1 Binatone.
Yeah, orange and black. And we had a little portable black and white TV with a twisty dial on the front that had, like, space-aged fins on it that was, like, from the 50s. And we used to plug it into the back of that. That was mind-blowing. That was, like, space-age technology. So, but obviously, if we went back now, that is a true point, though. If we went back now with our technological knowledge, we'd be like, Jesus, what?
Well, I don't know whether you've ever done this, but we all have the man drawer, don't we? And it's always got a few really old mobile phones in it. Have you ever managed to get one of them working and switch it on?
No, because we have no idea where all the old Nokia chargers are. We've actually got the old Motorola flip phone my dad had with the aerial, but we can't find the charger.
Yeah, I did it with my Motorola Razr not long ago. Managed to get an old battery off of eBay for it and just fired it up. And I'm like, yeah, it really was gash.
Yeah. But when I got my first mobile, it was bought for me by a friend. It was like, wow. I was lying there in bed. I was lying there in bed the morning after my birthday, and I'm like, go on, sorry.
My first phone was like a car battery with the phone on top and a big rubber duck aerial.
Oh yeah, yours was the proper box and a phone thing. No, my first one was the old Nokia thing with the little nub aerial and the little bleb at the top, the old 5210 I think it was. I remember waking up on them. I got it for my birthday from a friend, and I woke up the next day and I was lying there in bed and I was like, turn it on. Oh, look at that screen. Oh, look at this. It's just a green and black screen. It just had the network name, the signal strength, and it said Nokia, and that was it.
You used to have to pay a company for them to come out and install a phone into your car. Do you remember them?
No, we never had that. See,
with little zigzaggy aerials on your window, and it was a proper, had to install everything in the car to accept a mobile phone to be used. It was...
I do remember, actually,
it just changed.
Yeah, I remember my friend actually had he had a phone installed in his car in the early 90s, and that was that nonsense. It was cutting edge at the time. We still took the piss out of him, like, mercilessly.
And yeah, you know, you'd be driving along with a phone in your hand, you know, with the world's worst signal, because if you went anywhere that was the top of Mount Everest, you wouldn't pick anything up.
I remember. Oh God, do you remember? See, I remember when the first mobile network in the UK was Rabbit, and it was Chaz and Dave advertising it.
Yeah.
And you used to walk past the shop, and on the shop door, you'd have like a sticker saying Visa because they took Visa, or it might say luncheon vouchers. And next it'd be a little Rabbit sticker, so you knew you could. You get some Rabbit signal there if you were in the shop. Right, what's this? Let's do a darky brown, rusty colour. Look at me doing actual painting. Eh?
I know, I'm impressed with you, mate.
Aren't you honoured that this is the first time I've done... Well, it's not the first time, but it's the first Warhammer Sunday one I've done. It's not the first one, actually. I'll shut up.
This is the first time you've been doing building, and I haven't, mate. I'm mightily impressed with you.
Well, I've just got to do something, haven't I? Now it's delicate, tiny painting time. Let's have a quick look at chat before I do. Sarah Jane, thought I'd pop in and find the youngest here talking about how old he is. Foxx must have been born aged 84. Paul, short answer yes, a scale model Muse. Hey Sarah, by the way, my gramps had the boxcar phone, says Muse. My friend of mine, he was working at a local like boating place, it was like a lake where they had like a bar and stuff. They had like a little bar and grill and a lake and boating lake, fishing lake, and he worked there. And the boss says, "Right, it's your turn to have the company phone for the weekend because somebody had to be on call." And he hated it because the problem was this was in the age of your Nokia 5210s. But the company phone was the 1980s handset with a massive battery pack, like a briefcase. And he said, so the boss gave me this phone, he said, and I didn't want it because it was rubbish, so I put it in the locker. And the boss came back and said, make sure you take the phone home. And he said, I will. So the boss dialed it, and he said, my locker was ringing. He went, yeah, make sure you take it home. He went, oh, God damn it. Yeah. Sarah Jane says, hi, Colin, still a layabout I see. Get well soon.
Absolutely, Sarah Jane. I'm just, beached whale syndrome, darling.
Yep. Vamp says, I remember having the Matrix flip phone, the 7210. I used to have that. I used to have one of them before the Matrix. I had a Matrix flip phone. I think it was the 7210, I think. I'm not sure now. I could be wrong. I could be right. Oh, spilling water. Hang on, I don't want paint on my nice clean, well, vaguely clean cutting mat.
I was going to say, addressing that cutting mat as clean, I think.
Well, not this one.
I think this even Paul Stewart would be ashamed.
No, this is my scruffy painting mat. This one under here, that one is my relatively compared to this one. I have this little mat here just purely for painting purposes because I don't want to spend 20 quid on a new cutting mat every time. Because when I make a mess of my cutting mat, I just have to buy a new one. But then it's always kind of scruffy, my mat, no matter what I do. There's always a certain degree of scruff going on.
Oh, just know the minute you get any form of pigment near a cutting mat.
Oh, gee, yeah, I had to. The first one of these grey mats I bought, after a month, I had to buy a new one because it got the pigments on it, and there's nothing you can do once that happens. Yeah. Once you get pigments on your mat, like Cole says, forget it.
Oh, it's a nightmare, mate.
And it's even worse if you get pigments on your mat and then try to get them off with isopropyl alcohol, because that just makes it 10 times worse. For some reason, it makes them just adhere even more.
Yeah, you'd be better off just painting the whole cutting mat with pigment.
Yeah, or just burn it. Burn it with fire. See, now I've got the fun thing of painting inside all these paint chips. None of which will come out on camera at all. It looks terrible on camera because it's out of focus, but yeah. I don't mind doing this actually because this is kind of fun, because this is when it starts to come together and look kind of not realistic, but kind of slightly stylized, but in a cool way, kind of realistic. But I've got to try and control my urges and not do every single paint chip. I've got to
stage where it's a labour of love.
Well, I don't mind doing this. This bit I don't mind because at least it's something slightly creative. I'm not just dabbing a sponge. See, this bit I don't mind because this is where they start to look like cool chips. But I have to try and resist the urge to do every single paint chip having a rust interior. I've got to do it on some, but not all of them. Because what I know I'll do is I'll get carried away and it'll look like a chocolate chip cookie by the end of it. I'll have nothing but sadness.
Yeah. I must admit, I do like a bit of dry brushing. I find that therapeutic.
Yeah, I think that's because it's low effort and good results.
Yeah.
I think anything that's low effort but comes out with excellent looking results at the end of it. And it sounds weird.
So simple and yet can be so effective, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds weird to say it, but I much prefer painting on paint chips than sponging on paint chips. Even though sponging them on can give you much more subtle, realistic chips. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit and show people what I'm doing, but I might not.
Yeah, but with a paintbrush, you seem to have more control over it, don't you? That's the thing.
Wow, is that as much zoom as I can do? Jesus. Let's go full screen a sec. I'm just trying to paint inside some of the paint chips. So I've painted the light paint chips all over, and now I'm trying to go inside the paint chips with the rusty brown colour, just to give that kind of bit where the paint's been chipped away and you've got rusty metal underneath. Yeah. Now I do know, of course, the irony is, I'll just full screen myself. The irony is, of course, that once I've done that, and then I do all the weathering, all of these chips will disappear.
Yeah. But we know it's there.
Yeah, right now I think that the highlight's too light. But as soon as I put the dirt and the grime on here, I'll go too far with the dirt and grime, and then it'll just get rid of all the highlights.
So what, you putting a filter on there, or?
Well, I might not do a filter, but I'll do like a grime. I might do a dot filter actually, but I'll definitely do like some streaking effects and things. And I'll be putting some dust and stuff.
No, yeah. You don't want to get arrested, mate.
Yeah, but then again, at the same time, you see, I don't want to do too much because I want to get it done and sold. So I want to keep the process fairly streamlined. I could spend months weathering it, but that's not going to help me make any money. So I need it to look good, but not at the cost of.
It's where to draw the line in it, because, like you say, it's a quick turnaround and a quick sale, isn't it?
Yeah, but then again, I don't want it to look like every other pro-painted Baneblade on eBay. I want it to actually look like it's been painted by someone with a modicum of talent. It's all lies, of course, but you know, hey.
Ah, it'll sell.
Yeah. But I do like chipping. I do enjoy it. It's like sponge chipping bores me. That's why I was getting bored and I was getting frustrated. But like paint chipping with a brush, if I get myself settled down with a nice brew of some sort, cup of tea or coffee or whatever, nice pointy brush, a podcast playing, you know, and I'm happy as a pig in stuff. Happy as a pig in muck.
Absolutely.
But then I get so carried away and then everything looks terrible. It looks over-weathered. And I must admit, I've got a few models that looked great until I finished the chipping and thought, I've ruined it because it looks terrible.
It's like anything, though, innit? When we first started weathering stuff, it was always overdone, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, let's use more.
I've not got any chipping on that wheel at all. That's a bit rubbish. Oh well. In fact, now let's do some chipping on that wheel. Got a spare wheel there with almost no chipping on it. Where's my sponge?
It could have been a replacement wheel that was changed in the field.
Yeah, I need something.
Chip it, because it's going to bug you.
It needs a little bit of it. Chip it just a little bit. Look at the chipulator. Only a little bit. It's like on my old Land Rover, I had a spare wheel on my bonnet, but I had deliberately asked the guy in the car showroom where I bought it, have you got, I don't need a spare wheel, because there's one on the back, have you got a crappy old spare wheel that you're going to throw out that's not actually useful as a spare wheel? And he said, yeah, this one, it's just going to go to the tip because it's knackered. Can I have it? There you go, bang, stick it on the bonnet, done, there you go. I had a spare wheel on my bonnet. But you couldn't have used it as a spare wheel because it was rusted and corroded to hell. And you could tell because it looked terrible. But I had a spare wheel on my bonnet. I didn't care. Everything was good with the world.
Yeah, you can't have a Land Rover and not have a spare wheel on the bonnet.
No, I said, you can't. I literally had the bracket on the bonnet. I'm like, well, I can't just have the wheel brace, can I? A wheel bracket, that's ridiculous. That's like having a jerry can mounting point and not having a jerry can.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it?
No, it's just ridiculousness. It's sheer nonsense. La 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 la. Sorry, I get a bit carried away doing this, so my conversation might drop off. You might have to distract me with chat or something.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the chat now to see what's going on.
This is where people in chat, we really benefit if you did an AMA and asked us questions, because I'm so absorbed in doing this that I'm not paying attention to anything.
Yeah, Sarah Jane was saying I'm still a layabout.
Oh, yeah.
People saying hello to Sarah Jane. Vamp says, I remember having the Matrix Fit phone. I think you read that one out.
Yeah.
Sarah's not doing too well at the moment. She's got no hot water or eating. Oh, bless
I'm sorry to hear that, bud.
Andy McClish's first proper phone was a Motorola Razr first gen. He says, now I work in the industry, I can't get away from it.
Yeah. It's weird when you think about it. Like, for those of us who were around when mobile phones first came out, I mean, not in the 80s when they first came out, but like when they became normal, like in the 1990s when everybody started getting their own mobile phone. Because up until the early 90s, people had them, but it was the yuppies in their BMWs, and they were like business things. Really, in the early 90s, when people started getting a mobile phone for themselves to have in their handbag / whatever. It's weird to think about that, seeing them become the norm. Yeah, there are people now who a mobile phone is as ubiquitous and as normal and common as a landline phone was to us. We never marvelled over the fact we had a landline phone, because we'd always had a landline phone.
Oh yeah, trying to explain to your kids that to make a phone call you used to go to the phone box.
Yeah.
Hey?
So it's weird.
It's
weird to think that there are people now that a mobile phone is just it's like breathing, But to us, there's still that element of, God, you remember when that first mobile phone, where it was all new and exciting?
Well, you've only got to see people's reaction when their internet goes down and they can't access, broadband, Facebook, anything. Their life ends, doesn't it? Because they can't cope without their smart devices. Whereas us, we just go, I didn't want to ring anyone anyway.
Actually, I have to debunk that. When my internet goes down, I just sit there like a puppy with my nose pressed against the window of life going, oh!
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously, with the YouTube, it can impact that. But in general, we don't, because we've got our hobbies and all of that, we can survive without it. Yeah, we can throw our dummy out, but...
I mean, the annoying thing nowadays is, in the old days when that happened, I just turned the Xbox on and go and play some Halo for a bit. Now I turn the Xbox on and I can't do anything because it all needs to be online. I'm like, oh, God damn it. So I can't even play Skyrim. It's like, oh, man. I remember all the power cuts in the 70s.
Well, yeah, I can remember in the 70s we used to have the big paraffin heater in the bedroom and the paraffin lights and all of that lot.
Yeah.
Imagine that now.
We used to have...
be child abuse now, wouldn't it? Paraffin heaters in the bedrooms.
I mean, we were... When I was a kid in the 70s, we didn't have, any radiators. I mean, even now, I'll be honest, we didn't get any radiators in this house till, the mid-80s. And even when that happened, Dad kind of messed it up, and we only got two, one in the bathroom and one on the landing downstairs. So we're not, but we have got central heating. But up until that point, we had electric heaters all around the house. So in the 70s, we had if there was a power cut, we got cold. But we did have we always had a large supply of candles. That's the thing.
You'd go to bed wearing your coat, wouldn't you? That sort of thing. It was like...
But it's like you know somebody who grew up in the 70s because they have a cupboard with a load of candles in it. Most people would not have candles in a cupboard nowadays. But if you know someone and they've got a drawer full of candles, just bog standard, then you're like, you grew up in the 70s. That's how you know, because you always have a few candles lying around.
Candles. We had the... do you remember the blue tin camping gas stove with the kettle and all of that lot? We had all of that.
Oh, no, we never had one of those. We just had to do without. But What we did have was, for some reason, we had an old fake, but not quite Victorian, but fake Victorian oil lamp, like a curvy thing like that, all brass, with the twiddly knob and the big glass chimney.
Big in the middle.
Yeah, and we used to have that, so that would go on. That would go on as well.
I remember my mum coming round with a bottle of paraffin to fill the heaters up in the rooms.
Yeah. No, we just had cold. If it was in the winter in the power cut, we just cold and deal with it.
Yeah, scraping the windows in the morning so you could look out to see whether it had been snowing.
Oh God, yeah.
Because it was single pane windows, wasn't it? It's like, get the scrape rack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been snowing again, Mum.
See, this is the thing. Like, you know, in 10 or 15 years' time, you know, there'll be a whole generation that have never grown up on a school morning, waking up thinking, "Please have snowed, please have snowed. Don't want to go to school, please have snowed." Because 10 or 15 years from now, 20 years from now, there just won't be snow here, really.
You used to get undressed to go and have a wash, but you'd been wearing your coat, your jumper, your scarf, your mittens, and everything in bed to keep warm.
Oh yeah.
And it was freezing, and it would be that mad dash to the bathroom, wouldn't it?
And don't forget, what you'd do is you'd get the mad dash to the bathroom, but you'd take your school uniform with you, and it would go on the radiator, if you had a radiator. This is when we had radiators. Yeah. It would sit on the radiator while you're having your wash and getting ready. So that, you know, when you'd finished having your wash, you got dressed like your pyjamas.
Because you could take off your school shirt with your tie still attached, and you put it on the following morning, wouldn't it? It was just like, and it was on.
Oh,
it was jumper with the shirt inside. It was like,
when I realised that I could take off my school shirt and keep my tie around the collar, I was like, mind blown. That was a life advancement. That was like levelling up.
It was brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
It was like, so much time was saved by doing that.
And in the winter, like, you know, you get changed in your pyjamas. You'd get your trousers off, but you'd keep your underwear in your trousers. So when you got up in the morning, you just go underwear and trousers in the same movement, and because it's so cold. You just get them on the radiator, and then there you go, fresh underwear, fresh trousers, done. Well, not fresh because you had them for the day before. But yeah. But that's the weird thing. If I try and think of the 70s, given the fact that we had like no central heating and an immersion heater for hot water, and just electric radiators that you plugged in and electric heaters, I don't really have any memories of being cold. All my memories are of like warm summery days.
You know, you had nothing, did you? I mean, you know, we probably come from the same background where, you know, your mum didn't have a pot to piss in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we weren't exactly wealthy. We had, you know, our house hadn't really been done up since the...
You got 3 salads out of 1 tomato, you know what I mean? But we never went hungry, we never went thirsty, but you were skint, weren't you? Let's be honest, but, you know, and I often sort of look at her now thinking, you did well bringing 4 kids up in the 70s through that period of time.
God, yeah.
Because you didn't have the luxuries you got, like central heating and all of that lot, and yet she still did it without so much as a word of complaint, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You just accepted it and just get on and do it.
She said, well, you didn't have a choice. You had what you had and you got on with it. And I'm like, but it's that spirit of our mum's generation that I think is missing from the more recent generations.
It's kind of...
if they haven't got creature comforts, isn't they?
Yeah, see, my parents are the same, or my mum's the same, my dad was the same, in that because they grew up, you know, 30s and 40s when they were growing up, they didn't get sad about things they didn't have. They knew what they didn't have, but they accepted what they had and did what they could with it. It's like, you know, we had this house that hadn't had anything done to it since the 1950s. It was single glazing. It had no central heating, an immersion heater. You know, we were happy. I mean, us kids, we didn't know any different anyway. And my parents, I'm sure, would used to sit there saying, "God, I wish we could afford some central heating because it's freezing in this bloody house." But they didn't moan about it. They just accepted what they had and got on with it.
You used to have the aspirate on the wall for your hot water in the kitchen.
It's like
it's one of them.
We had the immersion heater in the loft, so it's like basically a big water tank, and you flip a switch and it heats it up.
Yeah.
And So you have to say, is anyone going to have a bath? No, right, I'm going to put the immersion heater on, go and have a bath. Don't run the hot water, because if you turn the immersion heater on and then, Mum fills up the sink to do the washing up or something, you've got to have a bath, it runs that hot water halfway through and you have a cold bath.
Yeah.
So when we had the house done up and stuff, they put a boiler and all that kind of stuff. But they left the immersion heater switch on the wall in the hall, in the stairs, on the landing. So it's funny, I still walk past every now and then and flip the switch.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. It's like, look, tink, clunk, clunk, this big old 1930s Bakelite switch on the wall. And when they decorated, they took it all out and they decorated. They just painted over it.
Yeah.
Bless them. So it was nice they left that.
Yeah. It's just one of them, isn't it? You sort of reminisce. And that's what I remember from the 70s, is although we didn't have anything to brag about, you still got on, didn't you? You still had a laugh, a joke, and
Oh God, yeah.
And that was it. Life was what it was.
Well, the thing is, when we were kids, because we didn't have a lot anyway, what we did get was brilliant. And let's remember, of course, we didn't have internet and all this other kind of stuff. Technology was bare bones, so we had nothing to get miserable about, because what little we had was brilliant. And I
remember my first record player, Foxx, was in a suitcase.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember them? You opened the case up and there was a little turntable in there, and it was
what, a Rockette?
I loved that thing, because suddenly I could play records. I was like, whoa,
I mean, I remember one of my favourite, it wasn't a toy, but one of the favourite things I used to mess about with as a kid was it was a reel-to-reel tape recorder that Mum and Dad had, and it was like 1960s, and it was just like you get a little reel-to-reel, and it just had a crappy little micro, and I can feel it now. It was kind of a red vinyl. It was like a record player, but it had reel-to-reel tape, and it was just for it wasn't anything. It wasn't like a hi-fi setup. It was just a little like a record player, and I used to have great fun playing with that. Little white Bakelite switches, and I used to play with it and speed it up. And
the top 40 on a Sunday with your tape recorder with a little clip-on microphone in front of the radio.
Next song coming up now on radio. And I used to pretend I was a DJ.
You used to sit there with your finger over the pause button just in case the DJ started talking.
Well, when I was before I got rid of all my music equipment, for those that don't know, I used to write music and stuff. Where this bench is now used to be a rack of synthesizers and all this kind of equipment. And I used to have a reel-to-reel 8-track studio mixer recorder, a Tascam 388, big 1/4-inch reel-to-reel piece of studio equipment. And I actually found, bizarrely, about a year before I got rid of it all and sold it all, I found a few old reel-to-reel tapes from when I was a kid. They weren't like I say, this reel-to-reel device. It wasn't a record the top 4. It was just literally a little suitcase thing with 2 reels, and it had a microphone you could talk into it. It was more like a dictaphone type thing. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And I found a few of these old tapes, and I thought, I wonder if they'll play on the 388 on my studio, because it's just reel-to-reel tape. So I got them on, and some of them just didn't work at all. But one of them, it worked. It kind of almost worked. And I could hear myself, and I must have been about 5 or 6 years old. And it was all sped up because it wasn't the right speed or anything. It wasn't the right inches per second, but I could hear myself, and I was obviously talking into the microphone, quite happy as Larry, pretending I was a DJ or something. I don't know what I was doing. Telling stories and just larking about on my own in the bedroom, messing about. And at one point, all of a sudden, I just kind of interrupted myself and said, "We interrupt this programme for a special important announcement. This is an important announcement. Now back to the programme." That was that. And I was like, I heard that, and I just kind of spat my coffee out, because I'm like, what? Even then, I was an idiot. I must have been about 5 or 6 years old.
Sarah Jane saying her grandparents had a range in the kitchen. Best thing ever. Oh, yeah, my Aunt Wynne, she's still got an Arga.
Oh, Arga. They're worth a fortune now, though. All the Ponzi types go doolally. All the Ponzi types that have wood burners go doolally for Argas. We used to have
Arga, mate.
Yeah, we used to have a gramophone. Not gramophone. A radiogram.
Yeah.
Which was
Spiddy Q8 saying hello, Foxx, and horizontal Colin. And you're getting told off by Dad. He says, Fox, in capitals, will you blow your bloody nose?
I know, I've suddenly got the sniffles, but I'm trying to paint little things at the same time. I shall do it in a second. Yeah, we had a radiogram, which is like an 8-foot long thing, with a record player and a radio unit and a storage place for records and a storage cupboard built in. I'm going to blow my nose now. I shall mute the microphone while I do so.
Yeah, bless you. Yeah. Andy McLeish is saying to Spiddy Q8 that I'm horizontal with an H. Absolutely, mate. Dad's on his way home from his daughter.
There you go. Doesn't matter how much I blow my nose, I'll still get the sniffles in about 3 seconds.
Sarah Jane's saying, breathe, Fox, breathe.
Unnecessary. I can't breathe. I've got too many things to talk about.
Sarah Jane says, radiators. Fox, you were like posh.
Yeah, only
Sarah Jane used to have the little round blue and white paraffin heaters, you know, with the big wick on the side, you know.
Yeah, no, we had the thing that looks like a radiator, but it's on little legs and you can move it around and you plug it in.
Oh, right.
They were like cream coloured. Yeah.
I've got one of them in my man cave, mate. One of them little, it's almost like a gel-filled heated radiator with a dial on the side.
If I sound distracted, I'm about to sneeze. But also, somebody started like a chainsaw outside or something. It's the world's loudest lawnmower. You mother! I've got to close the window now.
Can't hear it. Can't hear it.
Who the hell cuts the grass at 5:15 in October when it's dark? You chud muppet! You middle-class spanner!
Mate, you can't hear it.
Can you not hear it? Okay. Let me know if you... People in chat, let me know if you can hear it. I don't know.
They're not going to hear it. Me and you, we don't shut up enough for them to hear it.
No.
So.
It's like, honestly, who has a big petrol lawnmower nowadays anyway? Just get a flipping Flymo. Plug it in, you chunk. Some of my neighbours are idiots.
Dad's saying, I hope the daughter said I'll take you home and not to her home. Yeah, it was nice knowing you, Dad. Dear.
Well, it depends, Dad. Has she got you to sign any documents that you didn't read properly? In which case, you might want to just check your route wherever you go. You might want to try and memorise it.
Yeah, I would, mate. I'd put the Find My iPhone app on, mate, so we can track you down.
Yeah, find my iPhone. Find somebody else's iPhone.
And the police is saying, wait, what? It's crappy weather and they're cutting the grass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold, it's dark, it's 5:15, it's Nottingham, it's sale of the century. No, it's not. It's cold outside, it's October, it's dark, and it's bloody cutting the grass. Really? It's Sunday, you couldn't have done it 2 hours ago? Or, you know, just...
Tell them, Fox.
Can't you just sit there and get drunk? It's Sunday, come on.
They're proper mugging you up, mate. That's what they're doing.
I know. It's like, I cut the grass about 3 months ago, and that's the best it gets.
Surprised you're letting them get away with it, mate, to be honest with
you. Well, I could, you know, activate the orbital bombardment cannon, but it costs a lot.
Get the Nerf gun out and start shooting them.
Only if I can be bothered making the pew noise when I fire it. I mean, I only cut the grass when a cat goes through the garden and I can't quite see the top of its head. Then I know the grass is a bit long.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We're still sort of getting round to clearing the remains of the building site. The garden was a bomb site, and it's like, yeah, we'll get round to doing it.
Yeah. Well,
let's decorate in the house first before we worry about the remains of the garden. So that's what we're doing.
When Mama Fox was in hospital, by the way, I can confirm that Rhinox hide tastes flipping awful. It's horrible. Yeah, it's worse than Agrax.
Is that the one you said I had to taste?
No, that was Agrax Surshade. Agrax Surshade is what until right now was the worst taste ever. But I've just got a brush full of Rhinox hide and it's truly worse. Anyway.
See, I keep looking at that pot of brush water and I'm convinced you're going to think that that's Barry's tea in there and you're going to neck it.
No, because I can't mistake that for that, which I can barely lift with my dodgy elbow.
Oh, poor elbow.
Also, my Barry's T has Batman on the cup, so yeah. What was I going to say now? God, that lawnmower, Jesus. Do you really need an aircraft engine to cut your grass, you middle-class chump?
You tell him, mate.
Could you beat any more white middle class? Jesus. Honestly.
5 to 1 on, he's wearing a tank top and a cravat.
No, not that white middle class. He'll be wearing a football shirt of some sort.
It's going to be a red football shirt with a liver bird on it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're the worst. I see what you did there. I fully support this.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. While he's not here, I fully support your action. Do. See, I'm not getting bored doing this bit. This is more tedious and more twiddly than the spongy bit, but I'm not getting bored doing it because this is at least a little bit of creativity involved.
Well, you're seeing a reward for your labour, aren't you?
Well, I'm not just going sponge.
Yeah.
Much as I do love the word sponge. Oh, spider pig.
Yeah, I know. You can have a couple of them.
Yay. Oh, you didn't bring a can of Dr. Pepper with you, did you?
No.
Slacker.
Oh, he's put in caps who happens to be winning 3-0 at half time. It's getting all defensive.
Are you putting football in my chat, you heathen?
Yeah,
How very dare you? Well, I've no football talk in my stream chat, thank you. I don't know.
Yeah. You was really helpful suggesting that I buy cans of Dr. Pepper for when I'm next to you.
I don't know.
Your mum, if I have Dr. Pepper and drink it through a straw,
oh yeah,
I can do some of the world's best spider pigs.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the stream the other day, but basically, for the background to what we're talking about, we discovered here at Guru Towers that if you provide Mama Foxx with a can of Dr. Pepper when she's having a dinner and a straw, she tends to drink the Dr. Pepper quite quickly while she's eating her food. But then it kind of means she does the best burps in the world. Because she was sat there the other day and she had a dinner and she had a can of Dr. Pepper. She likes Dr. Pepper. And, she just waffled it down. And I went upstairs and did some bits and came back down again. And she'd probably finished a can after about 5 minutes. I'll say that again. It's probably about 5 minutes after she'd finished a can of Dr. Pepper. I came down and she was just getting up off the settee. And she meant to say, I'm just going to the loo. But what she actually said, as she sat forward to get up off the she said, I'm just going to the and then burped for about 30 seconds non-stop. Like just one long burp for about 30 seconds. And while she was burping for 30 seconds, she was also pissing herself laughing at the same time, which made it worse. And I was stood there, I was in tears laughing because it just went on. I've never heard a burp last that long. It was a proper Barney Gumble. And we were just laughing for about 20 minutes afterwards because I'd never heard, Mama Foxx is like 3'1" and, tiny and 100 million years old. And she just burped like a collection of navvies halfway down the canal. It was great. And then, so we found that if she drinks Dr. Pepper through a straw, she gets the best burps. Because she gets like 5 or 6 really big burps, but they all happen at the same time. It's like a thunderclap.
Oh, it is. It is liquid gas, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
But then the next day, she was going to bed, so I gave her like a good night hug. She sits on the side of the sofa and I give her like a little hug and ask her if she's had a good day and stuff like that. And so I gave her a hug and I just squeezed her shoulder and she burped. So I squeezed her shoulder again and she burped again, and she kept, every time I squeezed her shoulder she'd burp, and we were just wetting ourselves laughing. I don't know how, but again it was the Dr. Pepper striking back, but it was so funny. This little tiny old lady, and she's like, burp! Biggest burp you can imagine. So yeah, if you want a good laugh, get someone old, give them Dr. Pepper and a straw. It works wonders. What's happening in chat? Anything good?
Sarah Jane was saying that she opened her cupboard door and found some waffles. She said your relatives get everywhere, it seems.
God damn, the moment you said waffles, You didn't even need to say that was Sarah Jane. I could have figured that one out.
Oh, brilliant.
Honestly.
I've got to give her credit. That is a good one.
I'm going to give her points for that one because that was pretty good.
Andy McLeish says, I migrated Colin and Foxx to the big telly, and Mini-Me saw the comment that was Sarah Jane's and he's corpsing in the corner. Oh, brilliant.
Do you know, I don't get paid enough for this abuse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's that? Andy McLeish says, I washed down with freshly squeezed Noir. What's that? Noir?
Hang on. Let me.
Narwhal juice, he says.
Oh, narwhal juice. What? Narwhal. Narwhals are like the dolphin with the horn. Well, they're a whale, not a dolphin.
Yeah.
Is this like another ongoing joke about endangered species or something that we don't know about?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. I'm not even on camera, am I, dear? Not on camera, darling.
Yeah. Panzer's saying, what? We have to pay to abuse Foxx? No, we don't have to pay to abuse Foxx. It's a right of entitlement, picking on Foxx.
Do you know, I've often thought that I could make my life so much easier by going off and becoming like, a traffic warden or a tax collector or something. So much less abuse and peace and quiet.
Yeah, but it's a rite of passage in the community, isn't it? Well, if you've been in the community now, you can now go and abuse Foxx.
I suppose you've got to think about it. Like, what other community would you go and, like, watch a YouTuber's channel and stuff, and part of the thing is to sit there and just hurl abuse at them? There was times, people, they watch stuff and they're all respectful for the person, and some are a little starstruck maybe, but me, it's no, just check the piss out of him, there you go.
No, garnering for sympathy isn't going to stop us from doing it, mate.
No, I just command no respect at all, do I? It's quite
but we love you, really.
It's in a way, it's a skill. It's quite impressive how little respect I actually am able to command. Not a lot of people can command as little respect as I do.
We can go from defending you, but then when 3 or 4 of us get together, then we all just turn on you anyway. So it just goes back to how it was.
As a girl once said at a works Christmas do about one of the members of staff on our team nobody liked him, and he was really weird and he was a really creepy bloke. We were at a Christmas party, and one of the other teams from a different building came in and was taking the piss out of him. And she walked up to this guy and she went, he might be a Mong, but he's our Mong, so lay off. So yeah, that's kind of me. It's quite a talent that I managed to command so little respect. By doing very little, I command none of the respect.
Yeah, but that's what makes this community fun, isn't it? Is because we can all we can all rip the Mickey out of each other, and.
Mm-hmm. It took a long time for Mama Foxx to get used to the fact that I was taking the piss out of her all the time, because it became a natural habit with you guys. So she takes the mickey out of me now, and I do the same back. It's weird. When she's in hospital, the nurses are like, "Why are you giving each other the V's all the time?" You just can't explain it. Like, most people come in and visit their mum and they give her a hug. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, we wait to bite my mum and she'll flick the bird at us as we're driving off. It's like, really?
Yeah. Is that where we are now? All these little tiny chips.
James saying, Foxx, she says, we don't pick on you. We just put you young'uns right, despite you insisting you are old.
See, she's getting points now for saying that I'm young, which is quite acceptable. She pulls it. She gives me all this abuse, but she gives me all this abuse, but she pulls it back by flattery will get you everywhere, love. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, but she'll return back to normal service imminently.
Yeah, once she realised that was a bit of a compliment, she'll do something to offset it. It's like carbon neutral, but she's compliment neutral.
Yeah.
Wait, did I give someone praise? Crap. Hang on, let me fix that.
Yeah, should be now doing a handbrake turn going, what? Did I just say something complimentary to Foxx?
God damn it.
Yeah, but I rectify that.
Yeah. Right, so far I've done that bit there, and I've done that. And that's taken me, about an hour for that little bit?
Yeah.
So I've only got that bit under there, the turret and all the little sponsons to do. So, pretty much all of it. God damn it. It'll be here for a while.
Good progress, man.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'll do, I think we'll call it a show there, because it's a little bit early. It's only half 5, but I kind of need to go for a great big wee anyway. And I need to go and make sure Mama Fox has got a cup of tea, because you won't make herself a cup of tea, the lazy cow bag. But like, make sure you make yourself a cup of tea. I will. She won't. So I have to make sure she has a cup.
You're going to walk outside that room. She's going to be there with a rolling pin cow bag now, am I? Oh, yeah.
No, I can hear her coming up the stairs. It's quite funny because I know when she's going to bed when I'm upstairs and she's sat downstairs, because I can just tell by the little noises. Like, if I hear the TV remote control go down on the table, I know she's turned the telly off, and that means she's going to bed. So I turn up and she's like, "How do you know?" I said, "I know everything." You're not subtle. Don't become a ninja. Right, so that's going to do anyway for that for now, I think. It's coming on nicely. Those tiny little paint chips that no one will ever see. Because I'll...
Yeah, but you're happy.
Yeah, I'll try and... When I do the weathering, I'll try and not do lots of gunk washy type things. Now maybe I'll just stick to subtle weathering and panel lines and try and keep a lot of that. I've got to think what will look good to someone wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I do all the full weathering, it looks quite realistic. It might not look like I've put that much work in, so I've got to be conscious.
Yeah.
And I've got the other one.
What the buyer wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a blind thing at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. So we'll see how it goes. I might do impressive looking but yet simple weathering. We'll find out. We'll figure out. And apart from that, I've got to do all the chipping on the other one yet anyway, so yeah. When I said it'd take me a couple of weeks to do these. If I ever say that again, will you just come round and just kick me up the arse?
Oh, yeah. Can I employ the wet mackerel and slap you repeatedly round the chops with it?
Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. Dude, thank you massively for joining me today. You said you were only going to pop in for a little bit, so big thank you that you've managed to stay around.
Keeps you company, mate. Just, you know what it's like doing a stream on your own, mate. It's hard, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it's all right, but I'm more just grateful that you're able to stick with it. It keeps you company for a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, you're only going to sit there looking at porn anyway, so come on, you may as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not in your good books anyway because I've been watching NCIS and not DS9.
Yeah,
so yeah.
You dumb schmuck! You've got like an entire box set of DS9 there.
Yeah, and you're watching this tablet and more on DVD. It's like
arse, I say. Watching this NCIS nonsense. God, I don't know. Yeah. You have to make good of it by going and watching a load of Rumpole or something.
Yeah.
Stargate. There you go. Anyway, yes, so thank you for joining me anyway and sticking with me all through. That's really nice of you. Don't forget, of course, folks, if you'd like to support our channels, myself and Colin, you can become a patron or a member for either of our channels. Of course, mine is patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or you can press the join button underneath any of my videos. You'll be supporting this channel directly, and you'll be literally putting food on my table and keeping this channel alive, because without you guys, this wouldn't exist. And the same for Colin. Colin, you want to give your details?
Patreon.com, Festa67's workshop, and you can join my channel as well by clicking the join button under any of my videos.
Yeah, same for Colin as well. Keep him supported. Keeps him in kits and bits and bobs. It's good for all of us. And don't forget, of course, that if you join my channel, or as I'll start that again. If you become a patron or member of my channel or Colin's channel or Dad's channel, even Scaling Models, you do get access to a lot of good stuff, as well as the 24/7 live Zoom hangout, which goes 24/7, 365, and it's good fun in there. I've not been in there much. I've only been in there once, I think. I've not had a chance. But
yeah, it's a home for all you lovely people that are patrons and channel members, where you can just go and meet other super cool people and just chillax, build, chat, and just have a good giggle.
Yeah, there are some links in the description below the video if you want to go and have a look if you're a member or patron. If you're not a member or patron, click on one of them anyway. It'll prompt you to become one to see the link and all the details, so go and check them out. But until next time, it just remains for me to say thank you very much to Colin for joining me. Very kind of you, my friend. I will see everybody tomorrow for the eModels Monday show. I will be carrying on with these throughout the next week or so, which I'm not filming though, I'm just getting them done. So I don't know if I'll be getting any video content up for the next few weeks, just while I'm doing these. But I'll keep posting pictures up and little posts on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that to keep you updated. And I might drop into some people's chats here and there. Anything you want to announce or say or anything, Cole?
No, I mean, hopefully I can get down and get some bench time this week. So keep an eye out on the channel for anything, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see if I can join in. I'm assuming Dad will be helming your Wednesday stream anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, and probably Friday as well. I'll join in. Obviously, I'll be back on Friday for the Friday. And they said Fun Time Friday. Then that's not right at all. It's Friday Frolic.
Yeah, that's something you do on them odd Fridays once a month when you say you can't get into the stream.
Yeah, Fun Time Friday is what I do after the Friday Frolic, but that's personal. That is. That's only so I can get to sleep. But yeah, so. Anyway, I will be back for the E-Model Show before you all get nasty visions in your mind. I will be back for E-Model Show tomorrow. Until then, I shall say thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You there, be awesome. And until next time, I shall say, where the hell is the button? It's there. I shall say, adios amoebas.
See you later, peeps.